Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 158. I'm Graham. I'm here with Cody and Richie. Luke is working hard or hardly working. We don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. You can call him and he'll not, he'll pick up. So I don't know if he can work and talk or what the deal is. But anyways, our fill-in slash repeat guest that we have for this week, we haven't caught up with him in a while, is good old Mark Knibbs with the green machine. He's been doing some pretty interesting things with it. He cut the doors off. I don't know. It hasn't folded in half yet, so he's doing something right.
Yeah. It hasn't folded in half yet.
It's those structural B pillar supports. It's the only thing holding that roof up.
It probably is. Yeah. Sorry, I totally killed that intro. My bad.
No, you're good. No. I killed my own intro if you let me.
We'll get started the way I do. It's like, welcome back to FMjeeper. My name is Mark, and today we're going to screw up this podcast.
There you go.
No, I either talk myself in circles and ruin it, or Cody interjects and takes over, and it goes okay, or the guest jumps in, which is totally fine. Like, that actually eases the transition from my perspective, and people don't have to listen to Cody take the reins every time.
I know, it's so horrible listening to me talk. I'm so sorry.
Nobody wants to listen to you, Cody.
God, I'm so sorry.
Talk to me when you've got a tube cube.
No, never. I mean, I already do, but it's not tubed. It's just cubular. Well, kind of boxular.
No.
Boxular. Not
I have the vision for the tube cube. And we're gonna build it for you.
I need to see this.
Needs to come to life.
No, it doesn't.
I really want to build it. Just
to
see if it would work.
I mean, no. I feel like that's just death. We're just gonna die.
No, it'd be hilarious. Obviously, it'd be a tube cube, but there'd be triangles in it, so it'd be strong. Duh. You can turn a cube into triangles.
Strong tube cube. Got it.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
It totally work.
Single seater only, though.
Yeah, single seater. You're right next to the motor because you can't have anything outside of the cube. Everything is contained in the cube. Person
Even the
and
axles.
Drivetrain. No, the axles can be in front of it a little bit, just to make it look
a little bit.
Goofy.
I mean, holy shit.
No, because if you have the axles under the cube, then it just looks like a meth head
lifted smart
buggy.
car.
Yeah, just a meth head buggy. It just doesn't. There's just no style to it. But we can just parody off of all like the, I guess the basic chassis things that everybody does now, where it's just got like one singular tube that scoops out over the front wheels. Just don't have anything. Just have it float. Like, who cares? Just make it a cube.
Oh,
no front end, just the axle. So your approach angle would be incredible, and departure angle.
You know what?
Sounds so bad.
It sounds stupid, but I think it would be funny as hell if it would actually worked.
So in the predecessor to Beam and G, Rigs of Rods, there actually was a downloadable vehicle like what you just described, Graham.
There we go. So great minds think alike. But I want to build a real one.
And it was totally the cheap vehicle for the game.
But anyways, we'll talk more about the tube cube when we have a tube cube to talk about. So we mentioned Mark's got no doors in his Jeep and it's about to fold in half. And I don't believe we've really. When did you cut the doors out of it, Mark? I guess we'll start there.
Well, I cut the B pillar off probably a couple months ago, maybe 2 months ago or so.
Okay, so that's fresh. We haven't talked about that yet because
right.
We did.
I mean, that decision was kind of made for me because the last time I was up in FNF, forgot what trail it was. I took the passenger side B pillar into a rock and it twisted the B pillar there, probably about 2 inches off center. And I was like, yeah, why straighten it? Let's just cut the damn thing.
Yeah. So
cut it out. Greenleaf gave me a heads up. It's just like, hey, just run an external B pillar, just build a cage off that. So makes sense.
Yep.
So the doors are gone, the B pillar's gone, both of them, and now it's door bar time.
Honestly, I didn't know how I felt about it, or how I felt about it at first. I don't know why that sounded weird in my mind. But you've been running it with just the B pillar without door bars yet, and it actually looks pretty good. Like it's growing on me, I guess. It definitely looks naked, but I don't know. It also looks correct. Like the body lines still work, even though there's no doors for the body lines to. You can still kind of see it. It's a Cherokee still. Like it's not.
And that's kind of like the departure from what I originally wanted. Like I wanted to keep it Cherokee-esque. However, obviously as more tube goes in, less Cherokee actually there. And it's
Yep.
I mean, if you had asked me 3 years ago what I saw this thing turning into, I'm like, oh, maybe an XJ on tons. And now it's like it's not even an XJ anymore. Like I mean, it still kind of looks like an XJ, but like I don't I want to keep those body lines, but it's getting harder and harder.
Yep.
With
To
the
do
more
what you
tube.
want to do, the body
Right.
lines don't always
Stay.
have the best intentions.
Right. But I mean, it's working, I guess. I mean, I like the way the rig performs. I mean, the only thing that kind of scares me is not having protection
Yeah.
in that door jam there. So yeah.
And that's easy enough to remedy. Just some door bars. It's just making them look like they belong and be structural is the tough part.
Yeah. I mean,
Notice
that's
you run through so many like variations of things. I feel because I've got to do the same thing on Sean's, which is I think it's actually this. It's going to be very similar in looks, just with a slightly larger door opening. Maybe not actually, because your B pillar is probably set back a little bit.
oh yeah.
Um,
It's probably about 3 or 4 inches further back than the factory.
yeah, so probably pretty close. And it just,
Yeah.
I don't know how to make it look good, but also functional. Because, I mean, you can do the bottom of the A to top of the A where it ends, and then you can do the maybe not the proper way, but one proper way to do it would be bottom of the A to top of the B, but that are like close to top of the B, and I just don't like the way that looks. But then you look at like I don't know what sport they use door bars like this, but it's just all vertical. There's all vertical bars, which I think is for what we're doing pretty good, but I don't necessarily like the way those look either, so I feel like you kind of need some combo and I don't know. Probably
drag
overcomplicating it.
racing, they do the vertical. It's like one horizontal, then it's all vertical, attaching from like either.
I thought it was more. Maybe you're right, but I thought it was more stuff like more contact style things where you may
Like drifting or
smash
something?
into either a wall or another vehicle, and you want, even though it's a lot of weight,
be
you
NASCAR.
want.
Let me look it up.
Maybe I don't think it's Maybe it is old NASCAR or something
I
like that.
think I think it was. It's got the ribs.
Yep.
It is
It's like a
literally
waffle.
NASCAR. Yeah.
Very
Jeez.
basic. Like it doesn't. I almost feel like it doesn't follow the rules of what you'd think of cage design nowadays because it's just so much.
Then
Like
again, this is
90 degrees. Tube.
different. This is like, well, you got to consider the fact that this is like impact, not necessarily crush. So I'm sure that there's like totally different cage design styles based off of like
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a drift cage is completely different than a wheeling cage.
Well, it's because the drift kids didn't know what the fuck they were doing originally. Let's be honest. I don't even mean that as a dig, but like I feel like that was such like a backyard sport that all of a sudden, like they were just like, well, I don't want to die, and then they started doing things. And like, I mean, we would have to ask somebody from like grassroots drifting on like what their inspiration was.
We didn't have cages.
You're a grassroots drifter.
Oh, it was a while ago. Yeah.
I think he had a Mazda. I've got a Mazda sticker on that toolbox.
He also has he's also a fruit booter, but we don't have to talk about that. Honestly,
we talked about that
I just want
last
to. I don't think we did. I think we talked about it when he posted the video.
Oh, maybe we.
I don't think we actually talked to him. By the way, absolutely fucking cool. I just want to say so. Even if we did talk about it before, I don't care because right now it makes me feel better knowing that like telling you that those videos were fucking dope. Like I had no idea that you did shit like that back in the day. That's cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's scary being a 40-something-year-old getting back into something I haven't done in over 20 years. But yeah, it's nowhere near the level I used to be at, but it is what it is. It gets me out there. My kids are starting to get into it, so it's fun.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
That's how I feel every time I go snowboarding now. Is like I don't even go to the terrain park anymore. Like I just like rip the side of the trails in the powder and then I'll just pop back onto the main and go down to the left where back in the day we'd be like we'd hit a rail, take the boards off, walk back up and then hit the rail again like over and over and over again. It's like I'm not doing that nowadays. I'm just out here to shred.
Hey, but I mean that's the thing is like I would hope the other people around you are supporting you. Like the OGs of snowboarding are like, hey, dude, just be out there, have fun, dude. You don't got to be doing crazy like jumps or airs or nothing. Just go out and have fun.
I still hit jumps, but like rails were the only ones that used to like actually fuck me up because I'd be doing something stupid. I'd be turning like just like I mean, just kind of as you know, like if you were to go for like I mean, you could probably gap something pretty easily without having to do a 360 or whatever 180 over it nowadays. But like back in the day, it was like if you weren't fucking doing a 180 onto something, grinding across it and then doing another 180 out, it was like, oh, that was kind of boring. So like, but now it's like you do like a 2-foot gap, and you're like, oh, that was sick. Back on my feet again.
Yep.
And definitely starting to recognize that now. Like with all the fucking concussions and things, it's like I don't feel like hearing ringing and feeling water in my ears for the next fucking 10 hours. Like I'm not dealing with that.
Rails are
Oh.
brutal. Like you catch an edge on something weird like that, and you're just down. God knows what you're gonna smash up.
The
Whether it be
worst,
your head or your hip or your whatever.
the worst was the those big black pipes. I know that sounds absolutely fucking wild, but like you know, like the like drainage pipes that are plastic that like they would just like fucking shove into the snow and then
Yeah,
you would
see,
just,
I wouldn't even go near that. I wouldn't even consider that on a ski. I'm sure some people would, but I was
Dude,
not.
You
I
know
would
how
not
hard
have
it
done
was
that
to
on
refrain
ski.
from a pegging joke there.
yes, I appreciate you for that.
No problem.
But honestly though, like
As he
those
cries internally.
you would fall on those and then every single rib would just hit your ribs and it would so fucking bad. It was like you're playing the accordion on it with your ribs and it's just like fucking bam 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 bam. Oh, so painful. So yeah, you know, honestly I just, you know, put the bindings on, go for a quick shred and it's a good time.
Yeah, I think it's fun just going down at this point. Like, just something to do.
Yeah. I hear you. Just getting the body moving again is definitely all well worth it.
And
So
to roll this back,
Yeah.
it is the NASCAR cages that I was thinking of. They're like not that complicated, but I mean, I've seen NASCARs do some wacky shit, so it must be strong. Unless they've changed the design up a ton, but it doesn't seem like it.
I mean, I was gonna run like a straight horizontal from the B to A, and then triangulate from the 2x6 like kind of up to that same bar, and I
Mhm.
might do like a small kick down from the B to the horizontal bar, kind of up where my shoulder would be,
Mhm.
as a little bit of extra protection. But I'm trying to keep that doorway open as much or as wide as possible so I can get in and out.
Yep.
I mean, I've been kind of like I said, I've been back and forth with the design.
Well, it's not
Like-
necessarily shoulder protection. I mean, I'm sure it's partially, but it's a lot of hip and knee is what you're looking for with the door bar, correct, Graham? Because I know like the
I mean,
seat will-
sort of. I mean, you just don't want things entering the cabin, right?
Right.
You have to
Even-
balance.
we don't want them in the cabin.
Yeah, you don't want rocks in your face, but you also need to be able to get out of it. So there's compromises to it
Right.
all, right? You
So
can build a tank you could drive over stumps and not get poked in the face, or you could and not be able to get out, or sort of come to a middle ground here where you can
Well,
not die.
I mean, I've gotten to the point where I've pitched that thing like if you lay it on its side enough, and if there's a boulder underneath it, like it's gonna cut. It could come in.
Yep.
And if you're harnessed in, you're the thing that's gonna give.
Mhm.
So like, I just kind of want to protect like the outline of my body for the most part,
Mhm.
so it's not taking a direct hit. Like, granted, I don't want to get hurt, but I mean, if I could protect, exposure parts, then I'll do it.
Yeah, that's a
you know.
good point. Or like if you hit the seat and the seat rips out, your harness isn't going to go, and then you're going to get crushed either. So
Right.
really, just protecting the seat area and where you are roughly
Yep.
makes the most sense.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. So that's the plan. I was going to skin the doors. When I cut the doors off, I kept the skin off the door panels, so I can just cut the pieces I need, put those in, and keep it looking kind of like a junky Cherokee.
Gonna be like the green version of Greenleaf's Jeep.
Kind of, actually, he's kind of the inspiration there. I mean, he has
Yeah.
helped me a little bit on some of the stuff I get caught up on. I'm like, hey, what should I do here? And it's, do this. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not that creative.
Well, it all just you just work with the canvas you're given, and they are never pretty. It's just
Do you?
the final result ends up looking good in most cases, unless you like are totally out of your mind and you go some weird direction. Usually,
I was gonna say, do you wheel with your doors off, Graham?
yeah, I do occasionally, not all the time. I mean, it depends on the weather and what we're doing, and if they're already off, and if they're off, I don't wheel the same way as I do when they're on. I mean, when the doors are on, we were at,
we were bombing through on Saturday night at Good Evening Ranch without the doors on. Bombing.
Yeah, but I wasn't dragging my driver's side over a boulder on Honey
that's
Hole.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
It's
okay. I hear you on that one. Okay.
Yes, there's things I will and won't do with the doors on and off, and it's not I'm not just carefree. Oh, doors are coming off. We're gonna wheel the same. You take into account what are my weaknesses here now that I have no doors, and it changes things a little bit. In how, at least how I go. So,
but you still drive yours too.
Responsible.
Yeah, I did. You talking about taking a ding to the B pillar? I did ding mine up a little bit. I think it was because of that boulder that I dragged everything across. It actually pushed the back hinges, jammed that B pillar, and it is kind of at a weird. It's like pushed back maybe an inch. I think I can fix it. I think it just sheared the sheet metal off of the rocker tube, and now it's just kind of floating, which is
you're one good hit away from cutting those doors off for good.
No, I'll scrap them back together and it'll be fine.
You are really fighting a losing battle on that. Just come over to the dark side. Just go junky and be done with it.
No, because then I'll just look like everybody else here. We'll just have the copycat clones of external B pillar Cherokees. I love them. Don't get me wrong, but I'd like to prolong my existence in the door club group. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, in worst case, if I smash up that B pillar, I can just have RJ go and cut me out one from the junkyard. We'll weld it back in. It's just sheet metal.
Yeah, you're right.
It's already an inch off. It doesn't need to be perfectly aligned. I don't have to be a body guy to put a new B pillar in.
That much is true. Yeah.
The door's still closed with it like it is, so I mean it's got some give to it somewhere. The door does, at least.
I mean, at the end, I couldn't open up my rear doors. I'd have to reach in through the window around the B pillar before I had the external one and open it up from the inside. And I'm getting tired of this crap. Just cut the damn things off.
Yeah. 2 of my doors have that problem. The other one of them, you have to push the button 3 times and then it opens. There's no rhyme or reason for that. It just is how it goes. And then the passenger door is mint. It's still mint. Doesn't look mint, but it opens mint. The window still exists. That one's mint.
Cody, when you going doors off?
Well, you see, Priuses don't need doors off. All right, that pretty
Chevy. When you put in the external B
Chevy. Well, all right. First off, with how much those motherfucking doors rattle, I wish there was a B pillar in that goddamn truck.
That's what I mean. You install one, dude. Remove the doors and install one.
I was just talking about it today, and all of a sudden, for some reason, my driver's side rear door just doesn't want to open anymore. I don't fucking know why, but like it just doesn't want to open. So like, fuck Chevys and their stupid ass goddamn extended cabs. The stupidest decision I ever made was buy that goddamn extended cab truck. Dumb.
Rant over. Jesus.
Rant.
Mine don't
started.
rattle around in the shitty Dodge. I'm
Yeah,
surprised
well,
at that, honestly.
Fuck you.
I mean,
and your
the inner
shitty
panel flaps around because I refuse to replace the clips on it right now, but I have the clips for it. I just don't want to do it because I have to take that panel off anyways. So my thinking is I'm not going to waste the clips that are one-time use on a door panel that I know I have to take off. But it's been a year, so
Dude, I went on a date a few weeks ago. And this girl hops in the truck, and I'm just like, "Hey, just slam the door." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta slam that door because like otherwise it'll rattle." And she like looks over at me super awkwardly. She's like, "Is the door gonna fall open?" Now in my head, I'm like, "Oh my god, am I in Graham's truck right now?" And now I'm having to go through like the explanation. I'm like, "No, you are safe." I'm like, "Otherwise it'll just rattle." And she like shuts it normally, and I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna fucking rattle." I didn't even say anything. I'm like, whatever. She's like, "Are you sure the door's not gonna like open up?" I'm like, "Dude, how big of a piece of shit do you think this is? Like, it's just my truck." Like,
everyone who has ever ridden in the truck in the passenger seat has not closed the door enough, and I will take a left turn, and the door will open up. It's happened every time with every person who's ever been in it. And as soon as that happens,
It did
you
not
learn.
happen to me.
yeah, because
When did you ride in the truck?
going out a good
West
evening ranch
Virginia.
last
Oh
year?
shoot! Okay, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you drive shit boxes. You understand that you have to slam doors. You actually had one of the trucks, so you should doubly know that they're just shitty doors.
Yeah.
Any like normal person that gets in the thing never closes the door enough, and it does open up. And then after that, they know to slam it. Now Marvell's like double slamming the door because he doesn't know if it's closed or not. He's like, "Oh, I didn't close it." You know, he's opening it on the highway like, "Oh, I didn't close it. I need to close it all the way." It's I don't know, annoying. I should fix it. It's messing up the It's doing the same things as the Cherokee, where that striker plate, where the or not the striker plate, but the insert on the door where the actual latch goes starts tearing that sheet metal. And it's on the Cherokees they build. I mean, I've welded junky plates in and made one, but they make like a reinforcement plate that I'll probably have to do. I should have done that in the Cherokee, but I didn't know they existed. So I have a home cut 16 gauge, 14 gauge plate in there. It holds up mint.
Shitbox life.
Yep. Yep. And just 2000s vehicles in general.
I
Just,
want to say I'm not having those issues with my Jeep, but then insert you don't even wheel it joke. So like,
Yeah.
can't say
No,
it.
or you don't even have a Jeep. I don't think it exists.
Yeah, nope, it doesn't.
Is it gone?
No, actually, I still have it. I have no reason to keep it, but like, I also have no reason to sell it. So I just pay the car insurance and the fucking.
Why do you even pay insurance on that thing? Oh, you need to,
Because
right?
in
Otherwise
the
the town
that
get
I
mad.
live in. Yeah, because I did that once, and I was like, "Fuck it!" Like, why am I paying? I'm not driving this thing on the road. Which would have that would have been the quickest death for that thing is taking it off the road. 100%. I think revitalizing that and driving it to work for fun is going to be the thing that kind of kicks it back into gear for me. But I was like, fuck it. And then within a few weeks, I got a letter in the mail that was like, hey, if you do not re-register your vehicle, we're going to charge you like, it was like fucking like $250 or something absolutely stupid. So I'm like, okay, it's cheaper to register and pay like a year's worth of insurance on this thing than it is for them to just be like mad that it's sitting in the back of my house. Like fucking assholes. So gotta love it.
Why don't you just drive it? What's the issue with it other than the tires are flat? Easily
No,
fixed.
the tires aren't even flat. That's why like two people have made that statement, and it's like,
Oh,
that's
because they
not
have
true.
been flat at some point and it hasn't moved, so I just
The
assume
one
they're
tire,
flat. I don't know.
one tire leaks, and then I just fill it up. No, the whole shackle leaf spring situation at the moment would be the limiting factor, but then it's not like if I'm gonna do leaf
What's
springs,
wrong with the leaf springs?
the leaf
I've
springs
literally
snap,
driven my shit
shackle
with like
bent sideways.
half a leaf spring.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like you
No
had to
shackle. Like
drive
the
it.
shackle was disconnected at the front, not the back.
Yeah, but you had to drive it. I don't have to drive it. That's why I have not driven it. But like it's like again, I'm in that weird point where like if I'm doing one thing, it's gonna take 62 steps to get to like where it's like worth even doing it.
Well,
So
this is actually interesting because and it's funny you bring that up because I have the same problem with like every single one of my projects. At some point, you have to just cave and do the work, knowing you're gonna have to go back in there again at some point because you want to do other things. But in reality, even though yes, it would make sense to spend $10,000 and just have it all done at once, none of us, or most normal people, don't have, the expendable funds to just dump all that money into something all at once, or the time to do it all in one go, right? You can't just, for some vehicles you can put them down for a while, but I don't know. Like, I don't.
You're going to spend more time and money trying to chase perfection. Just, get it up and running, test it out, and then do the fine tune from there.
No, because like I hear you. I respect what you're saying, but I hate seeing trail scabs. Like people who clearly skipped corners to get on trail. Like again, do I have an excuse? It's been like a year and a half.
Balance.
There is a balance. You are right. But
if you can have the same problem if you wait to do all the work at one time, because you'll set aside 6 months to work on something, and then it will rapidly decline, and then you'll have 2 weeks left to do something before what your end date was, and I'm not applying this to you. I'm just applying this in a general fact. Like,
wait a minute, it sounds like Graham.
Waiting
till the last minute, then
no,
3 all-nighters in a row, then driving 12 hours, wheeling all day. And
how many times have I been the trail scab? Yeah, there we go. We're using me as the punching bag here. When
50,
have I been the trail scab?
The Dana 50.
Graham, you actually wheel. I can't beat up Cody because he only walks the trails. He doesn't bring his rig.
Can't be the scab.
It is
the
pot calling the kettle black, Mr. FMjeeper over there. It is the pot calling the kettle black. All right.
Okay.
First off,
but okay.
Thank you. So I will go light and easy because you have a very clear and concise answer. So like I cannot harp on you too much, and I respect the decisions you have made. Me on the other hand, I have no excuse. It's just at this point, it's just I'm not putting money into my Jeep. Like that's literally the only answer to it. Money is going elsewhere other than the Jeep, and like there's just slowly becoming no more excuse for it if I want to continue being in wheeling. But yeah, no, it's like okay, so yes, I could have put new shackles into it and just rode it the way it is, but then if I break a leaf, then I'm gonna be hopefully not stuck on the side of the trail, but like there is a chance that it flips the wrong way or something stupid. So like the rear situation, it's just like I need to do shackle boxes, shackles, and leaves, which again is like what $640 something. It's really not bad at all.
Shackle boxes are nice, but you don't need them.
No, I do.
RJ doesn't have them. He wheels.
Yeah, but the difference is my
he also
shackle
doesn't have the ideal shackle either. I'm not a huge fan of the shackles that he has, but they haven't folded on him, so that's still good. I mean, you don't have to have. He barely the wheels. Card.
He runs blues, and then he breaks every time he goes on a black. Sorry, RJ, but that's the truth.
I hate to say it, but I mean, you're almost in the same boat. You have a little more experience, but rig-wise, other than the 3-link and the slightly better suspension, it's the same thing. You're not
experience far surpasses his like my Jeep versus his Jeep. My experience and seat time overpasses.
I don't know. Does experience expire?
No, 100% not. I was literally wheeling his Jeep for him at when we were at whatchamacallit, Badlands last year. I was literally telling him like when his tires were going to start hitting the rocks, just because I've been in a XJ so many times and like minute tire inputs for him to be able to just walk up things. So I assure you, experience does not expire, especially when I'm still out and about and like doing shit. But like regardless of vehicle thing, I mean, there's like, okay, he has 488s. That's like the only thing that would like give him more driver feel than anything, because he doesn't have to give as much throttle input. But like regardless of that fact, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bored with the Cherokee, and that's kind of where I'm at, where I just don't want to keep putting money into it. Is it an excuse? No, because I'm still going to put money into it, but kind of where I'm at currently with it. Regardless of that, said regardless 5 times in that one sentence.
Just letting you go.
It's fine. No, I mean, it's just like, who knows?
And that's why I struck a deal with Graham.
Nah, I can't do it. I enjoy working on my shit too much for me to just pawn it off to somebody else. Like,
do you though? I mean, you're working on the axle. I'll give you that. I mean, you have worked on the axle. I know you've got other things going on that are keeping you from doing that, and it's the holiday stuff, and I haven't been there in a week either. I'm itching to get back out there.
Yeah, but isn't the reason he's working on it so he has a place to sit? when he goes to the shop?
Partially. It's also just right there. The tools may have been handed to him.
What? What?
Alito
That
horse-
is. Jesus Christ, that is the most untrue statement I've heard, but it's fine. The only thing that was handed to me
you
was
tell it
your
like it
way
is, then,
too
Cody. I don't know.
Oh, okay, Mister. I love
Because
to.
how
I love to strip
exciting is-
05s.
First off, that is that is 3 times worse than an 04 plus, or pardon me, a 99 plus. That is
Hey,
way worse.
a couple shows ago, you're like, "Oh, that's not a big deal." I'm like, "Dude, that means you've never done one."
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because I
Dude,
was
it's-
like, I forgot about the whole fucking casting thing. I forgot about how thick the actual metal is. Like, so, like, again, visually, I've seen this 05 plus for how many fucking months now, and it's perfectly years. Actually, it's probably about a year and a half since I purchased that axle. But like actually getting the fucking blade to the metal, mind blowing. At how much fucking worse that is than a 99 to 04. That is.
Are you talking about the driver's side collar there between the knuckle and the housing or the
Weird. So weirdly enough, that's more just annoying as in like the feel of like trying to get the blade in there correctly. Like the actual cutting process of that, like even the shitty blades or the really expensive blade that I fucked within seconds, like it was still chomping through the casting pretty easily. But like just the other side, like I literally, whatever his Apex blades are, they're like $40 fucking. He was like, yeah, try this one out. I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. And I was just cutting normally, no weird shit, no nothing. And I literally burnt that. Like I took, an inch and a half of teeth off of it because for whatever reason,
You're
it might have.
cooking it in one spot. I'm sorry to cut in. I wanted to let you go.
There's no room.
I know.
Having watched so many ways.
Having watched you, because I think what happened is it got burnt out on the steel side, the part where it's metal welded to the tube, not the casting side. Now watching the lesser blade go through the casting as easy as it did gives me hope there. I don't want to do, because I've got to cut Sean's up too. That's something I have to do this month. I haven't done one before. I've done a couple of 04s and down, and never, it's, as we've all established, they're not that difficult to do. You just cut the housing an inch or so back, and you can put the truss on, and it's that easy. And you cut the leaf perch off the other side. Whoop-de-doo. For this one, I'm thinking plasma cut deep on the steel side just to get it out of the way, right? Plasma cutter's it's not really they're wear components, but it's not a wear item. You're not going to wear the plasma cutter out. Just crank it up, cut that off. You can grind whatever's left down. Now, the casting side kind of sucks. I don't know how much. I have to look at it and, just sort of see. But I have some confidence that with one, maybe two of those blades, you could cut through the majority of that casting that's in the way and then go from there. Now, I haven't cut one up. Mine, I strategically purchased it with a truss on it already for not a lot of money, so it was a good deal. I spent maybe $100 extra on top of what I would have bought the axle for. The truss kit itself, the materials and time to weld it on and cut that off, it far outweighed the cost that I spent on that axle. It was like $700. And yeah, I'm just excited to try one because I don't know. I'm Cody. I know you use sawzall blades at the time, but I'm good with those blades that you ruined. You ruined my blade, and I was a little. I wasn't upset, but I was a little disappointed. I was disappointed.
You cannot be disappointed. I instantly burnt that one out and went on Amazon.
You could not instantly burn those out. You know how you could cut up entire vehicles with one of those blades. So I don't know what you did.
Now?
I think the teas were flowing, and the ignorance was as well. But it's fine. I'm not blaming you.
You can't. How am I?
I'm just saying.
Using a sawzall. It's just a blade that goes like back and forth. I don't know. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's strategy. It's like if you take an angle grinder disc and just jam it into the metal and wonder why it explodes.
That's
there's
different.
strategic
That's completely different, mister. There's
no, it's not.
Blade that goes forwards and backwards. That's all it takes. That's it. And you put it to the metal and it goes, oh, what chung, 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 chung. And then it goes through the metal. And if it don't go through, you take the blade off, you put a new one on, you keep on chung, chung, chunging. I think that's
It's
how
like
that goes.
welding. You just turn the gas on, pull the trigger, and
No.
pray, right? It's the same thing. There's no
Dude, I've
finesse.
had
There's
everybody
finesse
teach
with
me to weld.
everything in this. It's
I ain't got no finesse with the welder. That's for damn sure.
well, you will by the time that casting's done, because otherwise you're gonna be there for a while.
I don't know. With the saws, I got you. I can, I'm pretty good with that. Clearly not, but but the welders, dude, I'm just so bad. I'm horrific at welding. There's just no way around it.
Not with that attitude, you are.
Yeah, but then you look at like, okay, I weld on something, and then I'm like, oh, cool. But then you see Mabell weld on something, and you're like, oh, that's welding. So like, why would I weld something when I could just go, hey, bud, what do you want to weld this up for me? And then we discuss something, and then it's done and over with. It's great.
But you like working on your own stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just a shit welder.
Okay.
Got
Yeah,
him.
but the thing about it is
yeah.
you can be a shit welder, but if you don't pick up a gun, you're always going to be a shit welder.
Mm-hmm.
I pick up guns.
Oh,
Wait, sorry. I pick up welding guns. Sorry.
No, you also
I
pick
need
up
to
giant pegging things. And
ban.
Oh,
I'm
one of
banning
those
him.
auto
He's banned.
peggers.
He's banned.
Oh no!
I was gonna make a joke when we were
Fully
talking about it
automatic.
going the saw going in and out. I was gonna make the joke, but I'm like, man, that's wild. I'm not going into that.
I was just letting you two run because that was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I just need to watch Graham do his we
can do them together. You can just follow my lead.
We're just tag teaming.
You can just be like the little lemming and follow me right off the cliff with a pile of burnt up sawzall blades. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use the expensive one. I'll watch you use that one, then I'll go, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done, and you do the exact same damn thing.
Yeah, you better golf clap when I have that thing done. I want to time myself.
I'll buy you another one if you can do it.
You owe me another
Dude, it's way more.
I already bought it. Did RJ
Hell
not
yeah.
give it to you? Did RJ not give it to you?
I haven't seen RJ since he bought it, I don't think.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say RJ literally has it. Like he has it in hand. So
yeah, I saw him buy it. I assumed that what it was.
Yeah, he so it's there. It's yours. Supposedly, fucking Jace was telling me about another Milwaukee blade that's a little bit better. And they were cheaper.
No, not Milwaukee blades. I won't touch a Milwaukee sawzall blade. They're fucking trash. They're trash.
It's
Diablo or nothing.
So
Lennox.
it is the Diablo. So
No,
again,
no.
Lennox.
Not even Lennox?
So I like you know what I'm gonna do?
If you think a Lennox blade is good, you have not seen the cream of the crop that is some of the Diablo blades.
Oh,
you can
shit, dude. The Diablo let me down on mine. I was so pissed
well,
off.
you
I'm
bought
like,
the
what
wrong.
Exactly,
You
Diablo
bought
suck.
the wrong one.
They suck.
You bought the wrong ones.
Nope.
I don't know. And something did change.
right now.
There was a change about a year and a half or 2 years ago
Yeah.
with their blades. You used to be able to go to Home Depot, not know what they were, and buy the right Diablo blade. But they made it a lot more difficult, and they must have added like an intermediate line for metal. And it's not as good. Those blades suck. Because I bought a 15 pack of them one time, and I cooked them on like nothing. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I went back and searched, and I found the ones that I actually wanted, but they're not always in stock. They're in pretty low quantities. Like you can't buy a pack of them like you used to be able to. You used to be able to get like 5 or 10 of these things in a pack. And then they stopped selling them like that. Now they're in a much smaller pack, and the shittier ones, which I assume they're just cheaper, easier to manufacture, and most people don't know the difference. But when you're dumb like us and you're cutting through, a 6-inch long, 2-3 inch thick chunk of cast steel, you need the good one. So I don't know. It's the 100 times life. I forget what it's like. It's not Apex. It's something else. Those are pretty decent blades, and they cut through shit fast.
I texted my guy. He's gonna give me a 10-pack of the fire and rescues, and you're gonna want one blade. I'll do that whole motherfucking axle, one blade. I'll do yours too with the one blade because it'll be that easy.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah,
Fireman.
The ones that I don't know what happened with the ones that Marvel got. He must have got they
maybe
are
he probably doesn't know how to finesse a sawzall blade either. Let's be honest.
You bastard! All right. Anyways, the only reason that I even know like why these are so good is from doing all the oil tanks. Like one Diablo, because it's not a Milwaukee. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's fine.
They're not. They're just both red with white lettering.
Yeah, that's all I need for it to be the same thing. Like one, you could use 3 of the fucking Diablos on these oil tanks, and you wouldn't even get through one, but I could go through like 6 oil tanks with one fire and rescue Lennox. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to consider, and I didn't realize this was going to turn into the sawzall blade episode, but there's different blades are better at different types of metal. Usually, the thin tooth stuff is really good on. I might be no, I think this is right. It's good at for thin metal. You want a thinner tooth with a tighter, like more peaky profile, right? Anything with carbide in is going to obviously be better, but you can have a carbide fat or skinny tooth sawzall blade, and it's going to suck wind on something thick. And then there's like the wood sized thin ones, which can do good on sheet metal. Then there's like a mid grade one that's just bigger tooth. It just looks like a bigger wood saw, but they do make them for metal. I don't know what the difference in the teeth is. And those are pretty good at like mid-sized metal as long as you don't get them too hot. They cut through clean and they go quickly, but it can't be too thick and you can't get them too hot or it just cooks them and then you just, it's not going to cut. And the bigger blades are really good for some of the thicker stuff, but they make a mess of thinner stuff and you end up heating them up too much and they do stupid shit on the thin metal. They just don't work right. I've seen that too, where I've used the wrong blade on the wrong gauge of metal and then you wonder why it doesn't work. And that's why I think, or at least in my opinion, why everybody's got all these varying opinions on sawzall blades that, it should be cut and dry, whether the blade is good or bad. It's like, well, you can use them on different sizes, thicknesses of metal and get a different result depending on what you're doing and the circumstances of what you're cutting. So I've tried a handful. That Diablo blade has always been my go-to. That little 6-inch carbide beefcake. It does good, but I'm willing to try the fire rescue. I've never tried them.
Their slogan, they literally have chopped airplanes in like full circumference.
Guess what? Airplanes are made of pretty thin gauge metal.
Yeah,
aluminum. Yeah, that easy,
aluminum?
soft.
Oh, fuck. Maybe you're right. All right. I'll give it to you. We'll see. Well, time will tell.
I mean, you can buy an aluminum Dana 44 and cut it up. I bet you the Diablo blade could do that too.
With the axle
just
shaft.
Cut the casting in half.
Yeah.
And make a nice lamp.
That'd be cool. We could do that for the shop. Be sick.
I don't need a Dana 44A lamp.
Why not?
Because what do I need a lamp for? It's like, if anything, that goes in the living room, but I don't want that in my living room either.
I ain't lugging it up your stairs. Fuck that.
It's only half a Dana axle. It's not that heavy. And it's aluminum, even lighter.
Yeah, but it's for your house. Like if I would
put it in your room, then I'll carry it up your stairs.
We can do that. I do need another lamp.
Well, we're gonna have 2 halves, so we'll have 2 lamps. We can solve this problem.
Bitch, we are gonna have 2 lamps. Anyways.
Okay. That was the longest, pretty extensive tangent I think we've been on in a while.
About sawzall.
And I thought Luke was the one who got us off track.
Yeah, you took that variable right out of the equation. Oh man.
Oh, what do we hit next? We talked a little bit about your Jeep and the cage or the B pillar and door bar future of it. I know you mentioned the yard sale that it had at Field and Forest, but we didn't really get into that.
That wasn't so much the yard.
About it.
All right. Well, I don't remember. I forgot when it happened. It was on a Rockaholics weekend. And of course, it's always hey, let's hit Nelson's Crawl. It's quick, it's fast, and I guess I was with Ben Anderson at the time. He's like, I had trouble on this on Wheeling for Warriors, so let's go hit that one. Yeah, no problem. I'd never done it. So we're bumping through and everything. We get to the last hill climb, and then we go down, and then it cuts off into another trail. It's escaping me at this minute, but I'm going up. I saw Ben do it, and he gave it the fucking beans. And I'm like, okay, all right. He's a little bit more set up than I am. So I probably really got to get heavy into the throttle.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into it. I was halfway up the hill, feeling good, moving. I wasn't getting caught, and I was bumping pretty good. And before I know, all of a sudden, it's like I land, and the engine just starts cutting out. Like it would rev up, cut out, rev up, cut out. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell happened? Well, and then it just died. So I'm like, oh shit, what happened? Did the battery terminal fall off? Like, what
Mhm.
happened? Did the fuel, like, did I starve it for fuel? I'll come to find out after like trying everything and burning out the battery, trying to winch up the hill. I ended up breaking the fuel pump off in the fuel cell, kind of like what Luke does constantly.
Yeah, the Lukeism.
Yeah. So
That's weird.
it is weird.
It makes
And
sense based on we've had so many conversations about that particular failures that it makes sense, but like it's still annoying. You wouldn't think that would be a problem.
yeah, and I'm shocked that it's not more widely known, to be honest. Because I mean, there's a lot of guys that run that cell,
Yep.
and like up until like Luke started having issues, I hadn't really heard much about it, and then like now I hear more about it, and I think
Yeah,
it's
it's all those people who do have problems and don't know what it was, or think it was a fluke or whatever, and it's only when people start talking about it till they realize, oh, it's not a fluke. It's happening to a lot of people. Maybe they changed the cell design or something. I know people have complained about it before that doesn't have baffles and stuff like that. Maybe it's like fuel sloshing and side loading the pump or something. I don't know.
well, so the pump at full extension, at least the pump I had, which was a Bosch OE replacement, was missing the bottom of the tank. Probably, I'm guessing it wasn't contacting the tank, so
Gotcha.
it was free floating.
Hmm.
And I mean, you put enough side load on that, you get the fluid sloshing around. It will remove itself from like the pump will remove itself from the housing. It'll still pump, but it just
Hmm.
won't send it into the line. And
Yeah,
that's
it's just
exactly what happened.
huh.
So I just all I did was extend the line, extend the sliders that and kind of put some tension on it so it's pushing against the bottom of the tank. It's been fine ever since. But the
So
real
that
story
was the
though,
issue. Was
that
that it was
was
too deep, and then like the actual pump wasn't sitting on the bottom to support it.
correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
like yeah, if you look at all
What is
all
for
the
it's a TJ pump that actually is like it's designed for, I think, right? But even I think Luke tried that and it still broke it off.
I I ordered a TJ pump and it was the same length as mine when
Oh,
it
so
was
there's no
fuck.
difference.
so like I said, I sent it back. My pump still worked. All I did was like I took a piece of fuel line hose
Hmm.
and extended it 2 or 3 inches. And I messed with the sliders. I extended the sliders. So like now, like when I push, I have to push down pretty hard on the pump housing to get it to sit in the tank. And now there's a nice preload
Hmm.
on it, and it's been fine ever since.
Hmm. Yeah, you
So
should have told Luke that before he changed his whole system. Or
I
maybe you did
did,
it afterwards.
but we all know Luke. When Luke gets something in his head, he runs with it.
That's
And then he
true.
changes it 3 hours later, and then he changes it again 3 hours later, and then 3 hours later after that.
Yeah, it's you never know what you're gonna get. It's always a new adventure with him.
Luke knows I
Uh,
love him. It's okay.
yeah, I don't know. I've had my factory tank back there. It's never had any problems. It cost me nothing to do. Oh, it cost me the cost of ratchet straps. I think you can get them for like $20 and some
Yeah.
U-bolts from Home Depot, and a piece of wood that I found on the ground. And it just sits in there. I've smashed the shit out of the thing. I mean, I've come down so hard it knocked a rod bearing loose, and rest in peace, original motor. But the fuel tank never had a problem.
But
I
yours
don't
is
know.
still in the factory spot, right?
Nope. It's sitting in the back of
Oh, it is in the
it's in
back.
it's in the cab now. I mean, I had it underneath for a long ass time, and I drag it across rocks. No skid plate or anything. Those are for babies. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not changing it unless I've got a lot of money to burn. I don't feel like it's any less safe than an aluminum cell that's prone to cracking.
They're
Other
not.
than
That's why you should have a firewall.
huh?
It's not any safer. That's why you should have a firewall.
It's not any less safe.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the same thing.
Yeah, either way, you should have a firewall. So
Correct.
if most people are running around, and a lot of people are with these moto built cells, and without a firewall, without any of this stuff, and or without, I mean, most of them have some cushioning in there, but I mean, it's still a problem. You see it every once in a while. You see it all the time. I've seen I feel like every time we go down to Kentucky or Tennessee, somebody's got a fuel cell that's leaking.
Yeah,
Or
just
at least
because you
not,
see
maybe
other
if
people
not every
doing it
time, at
doesn't mean
least
it's
like
a
every
good
other
idea.
trip, somebody's got a problem with it. And I mean, it's not the end of the world until your rig burns down. But I've never had any issues, knock on wood, with like the evap uh, fumes in the cab. Really, I mean, I don't have the greatest evap purge system in there. It's actually laughable, but it works. It doesn't smell like fumes in the thing. Even only slightly after you like just fill it up, but that could be a million things. Especially now with all the glass out, I'm a lot less worried about that.
Oh, you
Is
finally
it?
pulled out the glass?
I mean, it's been missing a lot of it, and I just haven't put it back in because I know I'm just gonna smash it out again. So if I go through and spruce it all up all together, I don't even have a header panel mark. I don't have marker lights. We were talking about this last episode or something. I was like, oh, I could put it back on the road if I change the tires. Or no, it was the turn signal auto return. That's why I didn't put my PRP wheel on, because I didn't like that it didn't
Oh
give
yeah.
me any option to have that. And then Cody rightly pointed out that I have no turn signals to signal with anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Just
But
cut the damn doors off. Be done with it. You're fighting a losing battle.
I know.
I think Cody's the only one that doesn't have any removable doors.
Oh, any
Yeah,
free
why would
door
I
is
want to do that?
removable with enough Torx bits. Just buy 3, because you're gonna break 2 of them at minimum.
Oh, totally.
If you've never taken the doors off again, doesn't matter what brand. I lost my train of thought. Where were we? Oh, fuel cell. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not a.
But
If I had a couple grand to do it right, I'd change it, but I don't want to compromise and
But
spend.
that's one of those things. Like, so I'm at a point now too. It's just like, do I really want to spend? Like, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm kind of mirroring what Cody says. It's like, do I really want to spend money on this thing? Like, if it works, great.
Yep.
Like, how much more? How much more do I really want to put into this thing? Because I mean, like, I'm not lying. I'm looking at another car. Just like what else is out there? What else
Mhm.
can I play with? So
Yep.
how much more do you really want to go on something that you're eventually going to have to trash and throw
Yep.
away?
Yep. Well, to a certain degree, because I feel like that's every vehicle. So like I can't agree 1,000%, and like people have harped on that enough with me too. But also it's like with a let's say it's a full buggy. At least the suspension would still hopefully cross over, the axles would still cross over, maybe the engine, maybe all like the interior. So like you're still saving time and effort, and then all you have to do but then again, I guess a Cherokee's kind of the same thing. Like what do? Just put stiffeners on it in a cage? Like you're gonna have to build a whole chassis. So I mean, I don't know. Is it what's the term? Like one thing and one and the other, or some shit like that? I don't know. Maybe I'm clueless.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying there. Where you can transfer things. I mean, you can build axles knowing it's not the rig you're gonna keep them in 10 years from now, and be confident that as long as they're working under the rig you're going to initially put them under, and they're not breaking every trip, which, I mean, if you're putting Super Duties under any rig and you do basic things to them, you're probably not going to blow them up with a stock motor in any car, unless it's like I don't know, I guess in a stock configuration, you're going to be hard pressed to break something like that unless it's really heavy. And yeah, you can transfer all that stuff over. I don't know. I used to be in that boat, but then the more I think about it, like the less I feel like, I don't know. I would probably do there's just different ways to mount stuff for different vehicles, and I don't know how much it would actually transfer over. So at that point, is it even worth keeping them? So I don't know. You can go both ways with that. And would it cost you that much more to build a set new if you're selling the old one? and then you get to learn from. And this is me coming from like I enjoy iterating on things, right? If you build an axle, like it's built, you know it works, it's proven, it's been under a rig for 3 years, and you part the rig out and you sell the axles as a set, and you can make some. You wouldn't make money on it, but you would recoup some cash to do it again and build another set. Maybe you wanted to do 9 inches like a retard or something. That's 9 inches are fine in the right application. I don't want to get yelled at here.
Oh, I'll fight that
Just-
fight. Let's go.
Nick is screaming after he just bought two 9s.
I don't know. I think 9. This is here we go.
I've seen 9 inches. Fuck, pretty good, man.
Oh, they can. They're
Ah,
getting cheaper. They're getting more attainable. The customization options you have with a 9-inch makes them incredibly competitive. I still think the price of the housings themselves are a little over the top for what it is. Especially considering most people have to weld more junk onto them anyways, truss-wise and otherwise, to
right.
make them do what you want to do. And if you're spending, what is it, like $8,000 on an axle, I don't know what the housings themselves cost by themselves, but like you would expect to not have to do anymore. And maybe I'm citing the wrong things for pricing and otherwise, but I don't know. I'm still not sold on it. If they're gonna give you a housing that you should be able to put under, that you're gonna put under a buggy that's like prefab, ready to go, why the hell wouldn't they just beef it up to, have the trusses on it that it needs to do the thing? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I think it's getting there. It's not quite.
Well, I mean, knowing what you know now and what you with the rig that you have now, what would you have done different with your axles?
I
Well,
wouldn't
again,
have put the 50 under it.
Well, I was just
I
about
would
to
have
say
gone straight to the Super Duty.
I was just about to say, yeah, because like you have to take into consideration the fact that he's already been on one front axle, so like he's already learned and then done the changes. So he's probably
but I have no regrets
with
with the 50. Unlike some people who have immediately blown them up. I mean, I took that 50 from Ducky, and I mean, I treated it like it was, for the most part, I treated it like it was going to be in the Jeep for a while. I didn't expect to have problems with it because I was, that axle was the one I was coming from a Dana 30, a decently built up Dana 30, but I had grenaded that Dana 30 like across the board. Everything was blown up in it all at once. So I knew I was going into this one and I wanted to do, I wanted it to be strong. I wanted it to be reliable. And I think for the most part, I didn't spend a ton of money on it. I put gears in it. I geared it myself. The gearing, the initial gear set I put in that thing wasn't the failure point. The carrier split in half because of the weld job that was done on it, and it owed nobody anything. It wasn't something that I had foreseen, and it just was what it was. But up until that point, that axle had no problems other than breaking the outer stubs. I never broke an inner. The inners would bend and twist a little bit, but I never broke one. It was always just the outer stuff, the little stuff. I mean, we ran the hubs on them and blew the hubs up, but say what you will about fuses, and I don't like sitting on the side of the trail with a broken hub either, but it's better than ruining your entire weekend because you broke an inner shaft that grenaded your
Ring and
pinion or your carrier and a bunch of other things. So I think to get me from the point of owning a Cherokee on stock axles and 35s to the end of the 2-3 years that axle was in the Jeep, it did its job. I learned a lot about how to build an axle, a bigger axle, and put it under a rig. And I learned, about all the Super Duty parts. I didn't have any idea how any of that stuff worked. I remember putting that thing, like lugging that thing around in my parents' driveway, like dealing with all the massive ass shit on that. And it was sort of a shock to me because I hadn't worked on anything that heavy duty or with components that big, and prior to that I hadn't done anything. Everything before that was just light duty SUV stuff, and now I'm introduced into like the half ton, 3/4 ton truck world, 1 ton truck world, 7/8 ton I guess is what we called that axle. So it was I think it was a great learning experience, more than anything. And it wasn't that high of a barrier to entry. I got that axle for cheap. At the end of the day, we all knew it was a stepping stone for that thing, and it did its job. I can't complain. And then going into that '05 Plus, I mean, I knew exactly what I did and didn't like about the 50. I knew drivability wise, I didn't like the track bar on the Dana 50 because of the way the springs were set up on it and all this other stuff. So I knew when I was putting that other one under and I was putting the coilovers on that the track bar was going to be a priority to make that just about as long, if not as long as the drag link, and I did a pretty good job. There's barely a difference, if any. And just the general work on it. I didn't put a truss on the 50 because I didn't want to spend the money. Never needed the truss. I had upper link issues with the 30, so I never trusted just welding a link on, without any sort of bracing on it. In both the 50 and the 60, I've done. There's work involved to tie it in more places. It always makes me cringe when there's just nothing but a post in the for the upper link on the control arms, because you see them just butt welded on. You put that shit under load, and it's gonna tear right there because I've seen it happen. So I don't trust it. I always have as much surface area as you can, even if you don't have a truss. Just build it out, make it spread webs somewhere onto the axle and do things. And surface area is the name of the game for that one. So I don't know. Like I said, it's just based on how much I'm talking right now. I mean, it's apparent. Like, even if I didn't learn all the right things, I learned a lot just from that axle by itself, and it put me into the position I am in now with my new axle, which I think came up pretty damn well. And I still have things I'd change, like based from what I learned on the new axle with the coilovers, and there's things I would do differently. And I don't know. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing I don't like about it is just how heavy it is. After dragging 2 of those things around in the shop, it's like, Jesus Christ, that's what's under the front of my rig? Like, they're heavy.
I was wondering how you're going to get that out of the truck.
Oh, just the crane. We craned it out. I've moved so many of those stupid things in and out of the back of that truck. It's like, it's not even a chore. It's just a
balancing act more than anything.
Yeah, it's just a thing we have to do every once in a while.
In the middle of a rainstorm.
Yeah. Well, we could cheat at the shop. I just pull the truck into the shop, and then we're not in the rain. So,
Right.
Well, it's not too bad. But yeah, loading it,
Loading it sucked.
Yeah. No, I mean, as long as we had the crane. Yeah, I had the crane. Even that stupid crane, I've taken that thing in and out of the back of the truck so many times, and I'm not a big guy. I mean, I can pick up a crane, but it's not like the easiest thing to do. But that crane is easy. I've done it so many times. It's not even a workout. It just goes in and out. And that's not because I've gotten stronger. I'm just gotten smarter about how I do it.
There you go. We're smarter, not harder.
That's the name of the game. For a twig like myself.
But I can definitely appreciate what you were just talking about. I think that does make a lot of sense. But would it be worth the while to do it under a rig that I don't want to continue wheeling? You know what I mean? Like, let's say I throw those 05 pluses under the Cherokee. Does it then, boost the value of the Cherokee? Sure. Like, if I did it all correct and did it all right, then sure. But like, if I want to build a buggy, then the shit that I learned from the Cherokee, do you think it would cross over? Or some of it, I guess?
Absolutely.
All right, then maybe. Because, you and Luke have been saying forever, it's like, you have the Cherokee. So why not just, continue driving it and wheeling it? But also just,
You've watched Luke go through this crisis multiple times on this podcast.
Correct. And I can see the enjoyment and the value of continuing to wheel the Cherokee. But I don't know. I don't know. Damn, this is the first time I've actually taken the time to really consider that. I don't know what just changed. Maybe your speech was just so fucking inspirational, Graham, that it really just touched me in the right way. Because this kind of makes a lot of fucking sense. God damn it.
I mean, we've talked about this before. Everybody always harps on the build stages for going through it, but it's a learning process, and anybody who's, I don't want to say anybody, but you have to be. It exposes you to all these different just mechanics and the technology that is going into an off-road rig, and if you don't do that, you either don't have that knowledge or you've learned it from someone else or from experience working on other people's things. And there's no way to, you can't just watch a YouTube video and know all that stuff. You have to struggle with it. You don't learn unless you're working a problem in some way, and everybody's got their own little ways that help them and the things go through. But if you're not sitting there with some tension or issue that you have to work out on your own, it doesn't stick. You can't just watch a video on suspension geometry or look at a spreadsheet that somebody set up with the links on it and be like, oh, I know how this works. It's trial and error. You're gonna fuck up and you're gonna have to figure it out. And I don't know, you're very concerned about being a trail scab, but that's
how you learn.
That's part of the tension. That is a negative thing that is happening to you. So now you know better, and it will make you'll be much more open to learning about how to make that not happen again, right? Or how to do it differently so you can make whatever it is that is giving you a problem not a problem.
You're speaking too much truth right now, and it's starting to affect me.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Hopefully, other viewers who are also having, or listeners, we don't have viewers.
Cody, I was gonna say, I failed at trying to weld, learning how to weld, 3 or 4 times. I went through 3 or 4 welders. I bought it, got pissed off, sold it. You learn.
Welding. We're not gonna. Welding. I'm just bad. There's no. I have tried. I have many hours. I mean, okay. Yes. Let's say I have 10 hours into welding. That is absolutely not even close to the tip of the iceberg of what it would actually take to become good at welding. I do hear you
but
there.
You can do the basics, and you can do non-structural things. That's how I started. Yeah. I'm no professional welder by any means, and I still have a lot of rough edges that I am not particularly happy with myself. But I've welded enough non-structural things that I was comfortable with how the machine was working and how things were doing, that I tried and did structural things. And a lot of the stuff on my Jeep was from that era, and it's been tested and it's been good. Does that mean I've had failures? Yes. Everybody's had failures with welds in areas that may have been somewhat critical. I mean, that part of that Dana 30 exploding was the upper link bar deleted itself from the actual truss because there was no key. It wasn't in there other than the flat surface weld that was on there. If I had put more weld on it, it wouldn't have mattered because it would have been fine. But there just wasn't enough penetration in it, and that's all learning. And I,
but
since
you won't
that's
know
happened,
that until you actually do it. Cody, I put together my own cage. I was scared shitless. God, am I welding this right? Am I putting it in the right spot? That's part of the learning process. It's you're gonna make those mistakes, and then you can try to be perfect all day long. You're just gonna spin your wheels, and you're not gonna get very far. Definitely listen to what other people are telling you. I learned a lot from Luke and Graham. There was times when I was doing my swap where I'm like, yep, I'm done. I don't feel confident. And I would hit a roadblock. And it's just trying something all right, this is crazy. Let me just try this. My track bar setup, I went through 3 or 4 iterations. I sent Luke a couple pictures. He's like, yeah, no, try again. And it happens. I don't know, man. You don't try to chase perfection.
No, not necessarily chasing perfection. That's for sure. I hear you, but I also believe in if you're gonna do something, you might as well do it right. So as right as you physically can. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go and chase perfection for the right answer, but I don't know. I definitely hearing what you guys are saying for sure.
I mean, if there's anything, look, from 3 years ago, I was probably closer to you than what I am now. I'm not. That's not trying to put. That's not a dig.
No, I mean
I was on 33s and 35s,
Yeah.
like fairly stock. I had I think a long arm, and now I'm like 1 tons. Like the confidence level in what it brings out and what you can do and drive. I mean, like, dude, I'm a shit driver. The rig does most of the work. Like, if I actually got good seat time, I'd probably be much better. But,
Your rig is very much a cheating rig.
Yes, it is. Well, it has to compensate for my shit driving, but
It's always one or the other. I don't know.
I was gonna say Richie
my
rode
rig's-
mine.
Yeah, my rig's a piece of shit when you actually like look at it, but I don't know. I just keep it together and it does things. It doesn't. I wish it could do more sometimes, but I'm happy with what it does, and it always surprises me. If I had a 4-link, I think a lot of things would be better for it, but I don't know. Front works. It drags me up everything.
Yeah.
You got
But
the parts. Parts, slap them on, and let's go.
A good driver can make any shitty rig do good things.
Hold on though. Now it's like, okay, yeah, I have the parts for my Dana 30. Now
but a good driver can't fix parts that you've outgrown.
But that's what I'm trying to say is it's like, okay, now do I just put the parts in the 30 or do I just, I have the tons and I just set the tons up for the Cherokee and put those in before the start of the next year? Just saying, like
build the 05, and then if you want to bring it with you on your next rig, do it. If you want to sell it on your other rig, then hey, you already know how to build an 05. You're already one step ahead.
Yep.
No, but you're missing what I'm saying is, do I finish putting the parts onto the 30 and all that now, or do I just keep it the way it is, build the 05 Plus, slap it under it, fix the rest of the other bullshit, and then just drive it on the tons and kind of go the same route that Luke and Graham did, which was having it on a set of tons and then doing the cage like closely afterwards, I would say. Both of you guys were like 2 months after putting. Actually, no, you were longer, Graham. You were like almost a year, right? Being on the 50 and the 10.5.
I think I wheeled a whole season without the cage. Yep. Because at that point I wasn't worried about putting it on its side. I had never been a very aggressive off-roader, and I think I waited obviously, sooner you have a cage the better, but I feel like I learned the amount of time I had between having the cage on it and not having the cage on it. I learned like to the limit of where I think I was comfortable with it on the tons, right? Had I put the cage on right after, yeah, it would have been good, but I wouldn't have really needed it. I wasn't putting it in positions that I was worried about because I was still in the mindset of Dana 30, things break a lot, and I can't do that. But then you put slightly bigger tires on it, even if the ground clearance isn't quite there, your options just open up. It's hard to describe, but I mean, even just jumping from like 37 to the 40 and the 35 to the 37 previously, it's like just the way you can approach lines is different because you have a completely different tire size. It fits in holes differently, it goes over rocks differently, and you end up in a completely different spot than you would be on a 35, which can be a positive and a negative, right? Because it's different lines don't necessarily mean you're going to make it up, but just it's all just learning the handling. Every single thing you do, whether it's put axles under it, put a ton more weight on the thing, it's gonna have a big effect on how it drives and how it handles and all sorts of stuff. And I did all the pieces like one step at a time. Like it wasn't do the tons in the cage and like finish it up perfectly. So I did the tons. Thing drove hella different. That was expected because it's completely different axles and a completely different steering setup and all sorts of other things. And it was good. It drove better, just different. And then I put the cage on it like a year later, and I'm so used to driving this thing without the cage, with all the weight on the bottom and no real extra work on the top. And it's like, oh, now I have the cage, and it handles differently again, more than I expected. So it's just all those little pieces, and if you did it all at once, you'd just be like, oh, I put the cage and the tons on, and now it drives like it's got tons under it. But in reality, you changed it more than that. You did you're not factoring in all the pieces because you didn't do it one step at a time, which you don't have to do, but like, I don't know, there's benefits to spacing your stuff out.
Gosh dang you guys. Fuck you. Like, by the way, people listening, this was not planned. This revolutionary moment of me actually considering this was not fucking planned, and I'm a little annoyed that it happened because fuck both of you. That's that's how
You're
I feel.
welcome.
God damn it, motherfuckers. Jesus Christ. Who would have thought that the Cherokee fuckers would actually convince me to maybe keep the Cherokee? Who would have fucking thought?
The mental pegging has succeeded.
God damn it. Fucking fuck. Fuckers. Absolute fuckers.
Oh, did I ruin the moment?
No, it's all right. Like the worst part is too is like knowing how much money I've saved up, knowing how much money I'm probably gonna get after the fucking payback for not payback, back pay. There we go. Jeez, dyslexia is hard. Like definitely would have the money to complete them too before the start of next year. God fucking damn it. I hate both of you. Bastard.
Hurry up! Aren't you in line for a tattoo coming up here pretty soon? Or
So that'll be free.
Yeah, no. I've already decided he's not doing the tattoo. I will get it done by somebody. I'm not going to take.
You're
the
not going to
chance
get a
and-
stick and poke in the middle of the
No,
woods.
because dude, I do not need.
Where's
to get
the
skin
fun?
graft. I do not need a skin graft from my ass because my skin gets infected.
Oh, I'll bring
because
some Neosporin.
Oh my god! And he already said he doesn't want to do it. I asked Alexis, who is probably the only person that I'd probably trust out of us five.
Hey, will
idiots.
you do Cody's tattoo in Tennessee?
She said maybe.
No, she says no.
Oh, then I'm not. I'm definitely not doing it. Then if she, the tattoo
force
lady.
your sign on it, you'll be fine.
Oh my! yeah, no, it's getting done by somebody.
The shine will fix it right up. That thing, that'll kill any germs.
And anything else too.
What, Everclear? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Take some of Luke's apple pie moonshine.
No.
Pour it on when you're done.
Citrus and cinnamon.
It'll stick
and a-
too,
Oh,
so you know
no.
it'll put a nice little natural band-aid on it. The
I'm
dirt
over
is
it.
just it's extra protection.
God damn it.
Dirt and dust after the fact.
No,
you know?
I'm getting it done. I'm kidding. I'm gonna go to a tattoo parlor and get it done. I'm not having some backcountry apple
Oh
pie.
yeah, see now you're a little fairy going to a parlor. You gotta go get a parlor job.
Okay, patrons, that's our first gig is to get to watch the video of Cody getting his tattoo.
My first tattoo is like pass out or something stupid. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Actually, that'd be good content. We should do that. That'd be great. But it'll be in Tennessee, so they'll probably let me drink while I get a tattoo. It'd be great.
Oh God,
Are you?
Can you not drink when you're in a?
No, you can't be drunk at all. At least I know. for a
You'll
fact.
bleed
Yeah,
through.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. What if I
Yeah.
take like 4 baby aspirin? They wouldn't know. That thins your blood out too.
Bleeding.
Why, are you gonna
everywhere.
tattoo too?
No,
You should, but
Group tattoo?
I would. I just
Yeah.
can't justify the cost.
It could be a
I
poop
don't know.
I hear
emoji.
you.
I don't know.
And
It's
then
just
a
not my
box.
thing.
Shit box.
I think they're cool, but I think they cost too much money, and I'd rather spend that on things that actually give me enjoyment. Not that wouldn't, but not as much as like a new part. I don't know.
So what's next?
They're forever.
I don't know.
So-
What is
So talk about new parts. What's next, Graham?
Next on my Jeep, I don't know. I mean, I think at this point I'm sort of in a maintain mindset. I got to do a couple things to fix it up, but I'm happy with it as it sits right now. I got to do. I mean, I just did a bunch of work on the Dodge. I just drove the J20 up to Springfield, so I have that to tinker with now as well, and that needs a little bit of love. I think my end goal for that is to put the 14 bolt that I already have sitting on a shelf under the back of that, and put I have an 04, but I'll probably sell it for what I bought it for, which is like $100. Like cleaned, ready to go, just sitting. I'll sell that and I'll buy an 05 because they're cheap enough, and I just don't want to have to do it multiple times or deal with the wrong parts. Does the J20 need an 05? No, but I'd rather all the parts be consistent between all my rigs. If they're all going to have Super Duty axles, they better all have the same fucking one. I think that'd be fun. I think more pressing than axles is the manual. I've been sitting on a lot of parts for the J20 for years, and I've just never really had the opportunity to work on it just because of time constraints and trying to get the Jeep ready or doing other things. Like, just I couldn't fit the J20 into my timeline for what I wanted to get done. But now I think I do have that time, and it's in front of me, and I have a space and the means to do it. I think that's where I need to go next. I just want to make that something I can get in and drive, not have to be like, oh, I gotta drive it 3 hours on the highway. It's gonna be a shitty ride, like, because it isn't the greatest driving vehicle in the world. I mean, you go over, like, I think driving a stock Cherokee that you just did a bunch of suspension work on, right? And you go over bridge knuckles and bumps, and you're like, oh, am I gonna get death wobble? Well, you don't get that in the J20, but you get, oh, I'm going over this bump. Am I gonna like jump a foot in the air on the highway going 60? Like, the suspension is just bad. It's really bad. But I'd like to make it a little more comfortable so it's not like riding a brick. And just make it a little cooler and just have it be a fun truck to drive around and goof off with, because that's kind of what I bought it for. And I just haven't really had the time to give it the love that it needs. And
Cool
yeah, it is a really cool truck, which is why I'm mad that I haven't had time to work on it, because it's a fun truck. It's nothing, it's not pretty, but it's cool. And I've never had some, like, of all the vehicles I own, that's the one people talk up, or, you know, people will come up to you at a gas pump and be like, oh, what is that? I had one of those Chevy trucks or C10. Like, they don't even get it right half the time, and that's half the fun, because it's like people are coming up to you because it's cool, and they don't even know what it is, and they're talking to you about something else that they had that this truck reminded them of, and it's the most fun vehicle I own as a car person, because that's the one that generates conversation.
Right.
So
if it's the most fun vehicle you own because it generates conversation, why don't you just like make time?
well, you jumped in late here, but
Thank you. Oh, snuck
yeah,
in.
you jumped in late, but I was just saying, you know, my priorities for the past 3 years that I've owned the thing, or 2 years, I don't know when I bought it, I think 2021, so 2 years, has been the Jeep and the truck, and just making sure all those things are good, because I don't want to focus on something that isn't going to help me further my, you know, hobbies and off-roading and all that stuff. The J20 is great, and it's a cool truck, and it generates conversation at gas tanks or gas stations, but that's not what gives me, I don't get as much enjoyment out of that as I do from going on a crazy wheeling trip with you fucks, and you know, just exploring and getting better at driving and building stuff. Like, it just hasn't been the catalyst for all that stuff. And I don't think it will be, but I think I finally have, and like I was just saying, the means and the time to fit it in, so I can have my cake and eat it too, right? I can still have that thing. I can work on it and make it good. Now that the Jeep isn't blowing up in some ungodly reason for some stupid reason every trip, like, it's pretty consistent. Like, I know where the weak points are in it. I've fixed a lot of them. Like, next year this time, we might be in a different spot with the Jeep, but I'm gonna take my moment of just calmness with the Jeep, where it's not really giving me problems. It's been good for like
Ew, Luke's here.
2 years.
Yeah,
Welcome to the party. You're not paying attention.
I was in the bathroom.
and-
Sorry.
Poop time.
Didn't know I had to permission to use the bathroom.
No.
I'm really sorry that the other guy that I was helping cover for showed up on time when he said he was going to be late. So I'll apologize more later.
But either way, a long-winded answer that everybody who's listening has already heard me say it is just that I have the time for it, so, and the parts for it. I just need to do it. So I'm gonna do it. So that's gonna be my focus.
Actually, Luke missed one of the biggest revelations, and that's Cody's going to build his 05.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first off, no.
Yes.
Well, either way, the 05's getting built.
Oh, now he's pedaling back.
Oh,
Oh
God.
my God, you motherfuckers! Y'all just assuming for me, Jesus Christ!
God, the bathroom break.
Oh, you said you're gonna work on your Jeep, and what are we supposed to think that means? You're not gonna build the 05?
The 05's getting built, but who knows if it's going to be under the Cherokee or not?
Let's go under
Okay,
the
good.
Cherokee. Stop fucking off and just get back to work. Let's go.
No! Don't scare him. Don't scare him. He's like a stray cat. You gotta hold
Stray cat?
the food out, but you can't spook him. He's walking towards us. He's walking towards us. No sudden movements.
No, I'm gone. I'm already gone again. Give me in a few months. We'll consider it
Oh,
then.
God.
We'll listen back to this. He'll cut out that whole like speech he went on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It'll be
You
gone.
know, that's a good point. Actually, let me write that down.
Well,
Just kidding.
if we're not interfering too bad with the flow of conversation here, I have come to the realization that
Oh, you're
even
gay?
working, we've already covered this. I've been
Oh,
wheeling a
okay.
Cherokee for too many fucking years at this point. Should be like, it's almost tattooed on my forehead.
Oh.
No, but I've come to the realization that I am, in fact, broke, and all of the plans that I had going on for next year are just not happening other than the wheeling itself. So, like, expect my shitbox to be back on the trail with, full hydro, and that's probably going to be the only actual upgrade that's going to get done.
I mean, we can't really
Because
blame you. It's the same thing.
You
that,
say
like,
that
Graham
like
was
it's not
talking
a
about.
significant upgrade.
Yeah, and also if
That's
it's
a
not broke,
lot.
don't fix it. Like that makes sense.
Well,
Dude,
it's one of those things where like it was supposed to be the nose was already supposed to be off. I wasn't supposed to be waiting to figure out what we're going to do as far as New Year's goes and like, okay, cool, maybe this fuel pump will slap itself in and we'll take the thing up to AOP again. Nah, it was supposed to be like this whole big rebuild and I just can't do it.
just
That
Not the
happens.
time.
I mean, I
Get-
don't.
go.
Sorry.
No, I was
No,
gonna-
you go.
I was gonna say, Luke. Like, I think Graham kind of even touched on it too, and I'm kind of falling into that thing. It's like get it to the point where you like it's maintainable, and then just wheel the shit out of it, and just like stuff's gonna break, sure, but like do you really need to upgrade outside of probably the hydro? And can you do everything you pretty much want?
I mean, that's the biggest, end all be all problem that I run into there is can I do what I want? Absolutely. Me doing what I want is not the problem as far as the rig goes. It was just a major letdown because like I had a bunch of very quality projects lined up, like taking the nose off and doing all of that stuff. And the realization that the time and the money is just not there is what it is, right? Like, so I do agree the full hydro is going to be a massive upgrade and all that, but we were just talking last episode about wanting to do an 05 plus, and freaking Logan texts me and he's like, yo, March is like 2 months away. I don't know how we're gonna be doing on that goal. And I'm like, I fucking feel that, dude.
Sounds like he's getting the tattoo.
I don't know about that. I'm going over there and spending all New Year's weekend with him working on it.
We're
Cody,
getting
don't you
drunk
try-
at Graham's house.
I mean, getting drunk at Graham's house sounds like a good time as well, but that's a little bit of a drive to catch a buzz.
I think that's a perfect excuse.
It's not that.
It's a great excuse and all, but like I'm lazy. We literally just covered this.
No, you said you were broke, not lazy.
I'm
We didn't
broke and
cover that.
lazy.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So like I'd rather focus on being wheeling next year. I don't really care that much else. I need bead locks, but I'll hit that fucking bridge when I get there next year. I've got steelies that work.
Measure
That I can
if you
slap
want.
under it.
If you want it to last, those wheels to last you a little longer, because we know that they're gonna be.
No. No.
I have a set of rock rings that I'm never going to use, and I'm not going to be able to sell. If you want them, I will donate them to you. But you have to have a 17-inch rim. Like outside to outside has to be 17 for the to the lip.
Oh, so they won't work with the Super Duties because the Super
No,
Duties are like 17.5.
They might work with yours now.
Yeah, but those rims have already burned that bridge where the Steelies are like reliable, and Jed's tire doesn't care if I go in there and swap the tires myself at this point. So, whatever.
Who's Jed?
He's a good
Some
dude,
crazy
clearly.
old dude, but he doesn't care if I swap tires there because I drop him a $20 bill on the way out the door, and it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to do anything.
Hell yeah.
Dude, shout out to Jed. He sounds like a cool dude.
It's Chet.
Oh,
Jed.
they said
J
Oh,
E
I don't
D.
know.
Yeah, get
Jeb.
fucked, Graham.
I don't know. Sometimes you lose them, sometimes you win them. I lost that one.
But I think I'm gonna try and get the door bars done too, and I might take the windshield out of it because let's be real here, that windshield does need to go.
Well, I mean, I think you're at a point where it's like, I know your means to doing all this work is sort of dependent on weather and availability, and there's a lot of factors involved with whether you get to do work, and I know how that goes because in the shop setting it was sort of the same way in Beverly. So you have to pick your battles, right?
Yep.
And just small incremental things are gonna be what keeps you
Mm-hmm.
wheeling and motivated
then-
to work on it, I think.
And then I'm not saying that I got shafted with this fucking Comanche, but this Comanche is rapidly downbound spiraling into a problem.
Oh god, why?
Alright, cool. Clutch, slave cylinders, leaking, whatever. I'm gonna have to just replace the line. Nope. Fucking transmission's gotta come out because it's eeping out past the edge of the fitting, but from the body of the slave cylinder. So the slave body itself is junk.
Good old internal slave.
Yep. So, alright, cool, that's gotta come off. I've got a little bit of extra tube, and it doesn't have a rear bumper, and it looks horrible from the back with no rear bumper, so I'm gonna whip up a rear bumper for it at this point, because I'm already I'm gonna have to drop the transmission out, and while the transmission's out, because I can't leave well enough alone, I'm gonna fix the transfer case linkage and all of that jazz to get it driving actually nice again.
So you have your own J20. It's like me with the J20, except
Yeah.
it's forcing you to do work because you're trying to sell it. You have your own project truck. That's not really doesn't
Project
fit
truck.
anywhere in the schedule.
No, and it's I want you to just go away, not keep becoming a problem in my life, yet all you seem to want to do is just become more of a problem, and then I'm gonna get Stockholm syndromed into loving my little truck, and then while I'm Stockholm syndromed into loving my little shitbox truck, I'm gonna realize the fact that, let's be honest here, by the time that I get rid of all the rough country garbage that's under it, if I do keep it, drop it down to a nice factory style lift, a 2-inch lift, keep that ride quality okay. Wow, this thing gets 18 miles to the gallon. My
you go.
shitbox
New
truck
daily.
gets 12. And then I'm dailying a manual shitbox Comanche that I didn't want, and now I'm Stockholm syndromed into. Yeah, it's.
I mean,
it's
it
gonna be fun.
didn't. How much did it cost you? It was like
Uh-huh.
$3,000.
3.
Yeah, that's not that bad. I mean, you talk down on this poor thing. You give it a rear bumper and a slave cylinder, you got a daily right there.
Dude, you're not wrong. I just don't have anywhere to store it. That's the other thing, is this was supposed to be a quick flip, and now it's okay, cool. It can live at Logan's for a little while, but it can't live there forever because I just don't work like that. So then once that's gone, I'm gonna have to figure out a spot to store that, and
Why can't it just live in your backyard?
because we have a new property management firm that has asked me about my trailer twice, and I have showed them the registration and been like, I own it, and then they're like, your lease says no trailers, and I'm like, my lease didn't used to say no trailers when I moved here. So that's why my Jeep and everything is currently hiding at Logan's.
Is the trailer at your? That's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's
Sounds like you
commonplace
didn't
now.
read.
They just changed your lease agreement.
No, that's
Well,
illegal.
no, they sold the house.
Oh, so you had to sign a new lease and you signed it.
and
Same
didn't
with
do it.
trailers.
I did sign it, but like it was
You
one of
didn't.
them situations where rent goes up by almost double if we move out or we stay here. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that after the new owner has forgotten about the place, it'll just kind of, disappear because she's like some fucking businesswoman who just buys properties for income. And I'm
Once
like,
it's not
whatever.
the new darling in her book,
Yeah.
you can bring the trailer back.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna give it another 3-4 weeks, but we've got people coming in and out, and like the property management firm people have been here because the old owners, and when I say old owners, I mean like I have zero clue how far back this goes, but the little detail here is the Pepsi bottle logo was entirely blue.
What?
Cut a Pepsi bottle and splice that into the shower drain as part of a means of correcting a leaking shower drain, and I have no clue how long it's been like that, but like the letters were blocky on the bottle, so it tore the floor up when the bottle finally like broke because like how long this bottle's been getting mutilated with 2 hose clamps and a section of PVC through it to hold its shape. Like this was some seriously methed up shit, and yeah. Anyways, the floor in the bathroom's all destroyed, so the property management company has had to come back multiple times and look at it, get quotes, take pictures for the owner. It's just been, one of those like, this is all stupid, and I've been getting mandated left and right. Oh, bye, Richie. I guess I replaced Richie, so yeah. Does that excuse me from having to wheel for the next year?
No.
Oh, okay, fuck.
So you don't ask for the excuse, you just do it and let people yell at you.
No. Wrong.
In this situation, I'm going to have to agree with Graham because, I don't really have much of a choice. Um
Pain in my butt, you guys are. Pain in my butt.
I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be kind of cool if I popped on when I wasn't expected. I won't do it next time. I apologize.
You should apologize.
This episode was cool until you came in and started talking about your trailer
And
property
Comanche.
management. Oh, the Comanche's fun. I
And
know
the
you don't
Jeep.
like it, but
Man, I'd love to build a Comanche, link it, bob the bed.
This
We know
thing's
somebody
bobbed
selling
already
it,
too.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I love it, but it's terrible. It would be the best Comanche ever to build a 1-ton rig on, because like the cab's kind of not perfect and the bed's kind of like not perfect, so you're not like cutting
that's
up
the best
a
part.
sacrificial
That's what I love
lamb.
about the J20. Is it's like work truck through and through. And I'm so torn because I like the dump bed so much, but part of me wants to get rid of it and just make
Not,
it.
but also it's cool.
I have the plow. I refuse to get rid of the plow because I have a vision for it. I want to put it in the tons. I want to keep that shitty plow and keep the dump bed and just make it like a big old Tonka truck, and it has a plow. Not that I'd really use it, but just put it on in the winter and plow some snowbanks.
Who knows? Honestly, you could probably talk to the landlord and be like, "Yo, will you give me, during the winter months, give me a little cut, like a little bump on rent or whatever? If I plow the fucking parking lot, you might get away
They
with
usually
it."
don't
Not
like.
a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that plow needs some work, and with the tons, it will definitely need to be widened because it's only 7 feet wide. But
Sometimes they sell wings, depending on how old the plow is. You can get like little like.
it's
edge wings.
pretty old.
Oh boy,
It's
fine.
like you could probably weld some curved, like just chunks of plate to the edges if you curved it, right? And like if you've ever watched a video of somebody build a plow, like You probably just add that to it, and it would look right at home. It's just that old of a plow.
Oh Jesus.
It's probably 80s, 70s, or 80s or early 90s.
Hey, if it
It's
works,
it's got a period correct plow, or mostly period correct. It's rough, but I love it. Like it's just got a little chain holding it up, a little janky hydraulic electric pump that sometimes doesn't work because you can't bleed the air out of it. Yeah, it's a ton of fun, and it looks so cool with the plow on it. And it'd look even more sick with 40s on it, the plow properly mounted. Because even with its current height, like the plow never sat right on it because the person who put it on it wasn't set up right. It wasn't meant for what it was doing. Like it
Are you
never
surprised given where it came from?
No, not at all. Not at all, Luke.
Also, I met his southern version, by the way. And that was a fun fucking story there. I'll have to get into that after this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a old work truck. I don't know how the hell it's survived. I'm gonna be honest. Like with how it's been treated in past lives and all the stuff that's like attached to it, the thing should be a pile of rust. Like it shouldn't exist. But it does, and it doesn't care what you think, and it's yellow and still driving. The battery cables were held together. This is me and Jacob. Jacob's favorite part of the whole truck was that the wiring was held together with a shoelace. There was a shoelace holding wires that were twisted or something together. That is how it was being held together. Like it was just. It came from rock bottom, and nothing I do to it will be worse than what has been done to it in the past. So it's like every day I own it is like a spa day for the thing, even if I do nothing with it. So I don't know. It's just a fun like truck that owes me nothing, owes nobody anything, and continues to exist. And I want to just do fun things with it and have that be the end of it.
I still think
Continue to enjoy the meme.
Yeah, till it rots into the ground, and then we'll take the axles and put them on something else.
I still
Hopefully
think
it
the
doesn't,
coolest thing
but-
was the day that you went to was at Fiddlehead with it. It was cool, just bumping it across the sand. That was sick.
What do you mean? I mean, I know that those trips were so fun. I think the main allure of those Saco trips was was driving the J trucks down there, but or up there. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a goofy beach cruiser, that's for sure. And the frame flexes so much because all the way to the bed is on the back of the frame. So if you get it like bound up somewhere, the whole thing like flaps in the middle. It's really bad.
That
Crazy.
sounds terrible.
It is.
So-
I'm very worried that it's going to rip in half, but I'll fix that.
So I met the southern version of your truck's owner or old owner through the Comanche. This guy's like, "Hey man, you willing to drop the Comanche off?" And I think I talked about it a little bit when that happened.
Yep.
But he started messaging me, and like I wasn't replying. It was questions about Jeep stuff, like, "Hey, do you think Dodge axles, this, that, the other thing?" Like just the typical like spew of stupid,
Mhm.
right? Can I put a Dodge 44 under the front of the Jeep? It's going to be or under the front of a Jeep. I'm trying to sell it, and I think it would be a major upgrade. And I'm like, whatever. So I stopped paying attention to him. So he goes to my marketplace profile and leaves me a one-star review and tries to report the fucking ad because I quit talking to him.
Jesus. What the
Oh, that's
hell?
normal. 1-star reviews are normal. Mine, I've had a 1-star buyer rating since like 2015. It's just normal.
I wouldn't want to buy anything from you. You're horrible to buy. You're horrible to deal with.
Oh, I am, because that was back in the early Cherokee days when we'd buy them for $350 and then flip them and make a ton of money selling parts off of them. So like I literally would just be messaging people who had ads up there for $2,000 and be like, "Yo, $350, I'll come right now," or like $500, "I got cash right now," and then people just be like, "Yo, fuck this dude," and then would just report my shit, and then I'm like, yeah. Yep. But sometimes they'd hit. You'd get that one dude who just wanted some cash, and you're just like, damn, sweet. I got 4.5-inch lift, sell for $400. Got
Yeah, they're just
fucking
feeding
33
your addiction. It's worse than.
Oh, dude, it was terrible. If I had a space, I would have had so many shitbox Cherokees sitting around. Oh man, we would have never needed a fucking CPS sensor ever again. Would have had a plethora. So bad.
Hey, the factory ones are the ones that last the longest. Buy a whole other
You
Cherokee
ain't
for
wrong.
$200 and get a new CPS.
I'm putting a new CPS in my Cherokee every year now. It's great.
Hmm.
And a
I
fuel
hate
pump.
it.
I have my original the other CPS cam position sensor. I can't put it in my motor because the bolts the heads are gone. They're rotted to nothing. But I'm keeping it because at some point I'm gonna break the other new one that's in there, and I'm gonna be pissed, and I'm gonna grind the heads off that stupid thing, and I'm gonna take that entire assembly with the Holy Grail CPS that won't die, and I'm gonna stick it in those motors, and it's gonna have no problems. But until then, we have to deal with the shitty new ones that O'Reilly sells.
Oh,
Not
speaking
gonna
of which,
lie, that sounds terrible.
Yes.
speaking of O'Reilly, did you answer RJ on the fucking power steering brand?
I told
Is
him
he-
I told him I wouldn't bother until he's doing
The hydro?
yeah, I wouldn't put the pump in. I wouldn't waste the effort.
Well, that's
not-
kind of what I was thinking too. But he asked me about it, and he was like, "Hey, what
He
brand?"
asked
is
me
yours?"
to, and I
I'm like,
tried
"I
to
don't know."
point him away from it because, well, yes, that's an upgrade. The only reason he's thinking that is because that's what Buckley and Mabell have done, and they had other reasons for swapping their pump. I don't think RJ needs to do it. While the
I can't
4.7 pump
remember
is an
his-
upgrade, it's like you're putting a pump that wasn't designed for that steering system without any, it doesn't have
Reason.
hydro, it doesn't have any like the pieces. Yes, it'll steer faster, like technically it's better, but is it worth changing your pump that's perfectly good for a new O'Reilly's pump that might not be good? I mean, I ran my hydro on my original pump and had no issues for a long time. Eventually they crap out, but like
My
I wouldn't
brother
even
in
bother.
Christ, I have a junkyard special that I threw in the tool bag off of a fucking 90 ZJ that's held in with 2 bolts. What more do you need?
I wonder if that's
Yeah.
why they went to the junkyard today, or if when they went, if they were even considering that.
I mean,
Because
if he
that-
finds one off a junkyard one and buys it for like
That's solid.
$30, like go
Yeah.
for it.
Hell yeah!
But I don't know. I don't think if he's buying a new off the shelf one that it's worth him doing. I mean, if you've gone through 2 factory pumps, and I mean I've got another factory Cherokee one on my bench. I think I could probably put in mine. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, that might be what I do. Like you just don't need to. Like it's back to, picking your battles here and doing the stuff that don't fix something that's not broken. Right? Yes,
Mhm.
maybe that's an upgrade, but it's not. Is it going to benefit you? Is the benefit going to outweigh the cost? And in that case, I don't think it is. He just wants to do it because that's what everybody else around us has done. But it's not necessarily
do
going
call
to make
him-
a difference.
They do call him Little Bow Wow, like Mike. That is one of his nicknames.
I thought that was oh yeah, I guess that wasn't Buckley, that was him.
Yeah, it's
But,
about RJ copying Buck. But like then again, like they're also like I can't blame them. Like as much as like we tease them about it, we're doing the same thing. Or me, Marvell originally were doing the same thing with you, Colin, and Luke. Like you hear your friends are doing XYZ for XYZ
Yeah,
reason.
and that's fine.
And like, yeah, no,
if
I know.
he
I'm just
asks for my advice as to whether he should do that or not, I'm gonna say the same thing I'm saying now is I don't think it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
You can do it. I'm not gonna tell you not to. Like if you want to go and put the time and put the effort into doing something that's gonna make a marginal difference, like
hey,
go
if it makes you
for it.
happy, fuck
But
it. Yeah.
if you don't have the, if you're trying to save money for like other things, which he's talked about a lot of other things that he'd potentially want to do that thing, and he was talking about how he was only going to have money to do one thing or the other. It's like, okay, well then
the
money is
other
a
then.
constraint. I'm not gonna persuade you to do something that isn't gonna make a major benefit to you if like your funds are limited, but like most of us are. Like it's just not.
Mhm.
I wouldn't spend the effort in that front. I think for him, biggest thing is a 3-link. Everything else on that
Yeah.
Jeep is in a really
Solid.
good spot.
I agree completely, and that's kind of what I like. 3-link and a hydro setup on that, and I think he would just really start to enjoy the.
Honestly, I don't
the
even.
vehicle.
He mentioned like doing the hydro as well, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it'll
Yes.
help you, but you don't. If you're gonna do, and obviously this is further down the line for him, but like, if your vision is to put other axles in the thing, like, why?
That's exactly where I'm at.
Why
too,
focus
yeah.
on the hydro until you have the axles that are deserving of the hydro? Like, why would
You're
you
gonna go spend $300 on a hydro setup. More than that, actually, you're gonna spend more than $300 on a hydro setup for the Cherokee when you could spend $600 and get a solid hydro setup for the for like a 1-ton setup.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
just like it's just picking your battles, right? If you know, and I never once felt like I needed hydro on my Dana 30 when I was learning how to wheel with the 3-link and whatnot. Yeah, well, I mean, would it
I
maybe have
definitely
helped?
do. I 100%
But, like,
need one,
I don't know.
but I also think my pump's blown up. Like I think
Definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I felt like my steering wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing on my Jeep when we were at AOP recently, and it was because the pump died. It was very bad by the end, and yeah, so just in your case, I would just swap the pump, see if that makes a difference. That's cheap enough.
Yeah, I mean,
I already have the pump, by the way. I
there you go. So swap it in.
I could.
that would be my takeaway from that as well. And like, I'm looking at when I do end up putting the hydro in, you better believe it's going to be running off of a stock fucking Cherokee pump.
I have no problems. I do. The only thing that I'll say that the WJ pump is better about is the return feeds right into the pump, so you don't have any cavitation. But in a stock system without hydro, you're never going to cavitate that. You're not going to be cavitating it to the extent that it's going to cause issues as long as there's fluid in there. With hydro, you're taxing it a little more. It benefits it to have it flow right into the pump versus sitting in the reservoir or getting filled from the top. Realistically, does it make a difference? I don't think so. Maybe probably not. Honestly, you're probably just cavitating the fluid that's going into the pump that's already cavitated. So maybe it's a vicious cycle. So I mean, it could go either way. We'd have to talk to Eric about that one. So I don't know. Like, there are benefits. It's a slightly stronger pump. Does he need it? No. Does he need hydro right now? I would say no. You could argue that. I've seen plenty of rigs that are plenty capable on the Dana 30 that their issue was at Field and Forest they couldn't turn. Like, be on a rock, they tried to turn and they couldn't turn. And it's like, well, if you could just turn your wheel and not have to shimmy your Jeep around, then you wouldn't have this problem. Now, on the flip side, you can also not be a dumbass, and I'm not calling out anybody that I know personally, so I don't know the full details on this, but if you can shimmy your Jeep, right, and like kind of feather the pedal and you get a little bit of gas and brake or clutch or whatever you have in your Jeep, e-brake, all 4 of them, get them all going, you could probably wiggle it and get the power steering to move, even though it's not happy, and stay in the same spot for the most part. But
yes and no.
It's harder. It's harder.
No, because you could fall off of something if you're dealing with like 5 inches on a rock, and like forward momentum while being able to turn would be the difference. Then like, yeah, I mean like
that's what I'm saying. If you can like rock just gently, like
it's tough though. Like with me,
I know that's what I'm saying. Is it's not always possible, but in some cases you can do it and you can make it work. And I mean, even with my hydro assist, I do it all the time. Like, and maybe that's because my pump was dying, but. Well, I know what killed it. It was Field and Forest running it with no fluid because I needed to get out of that obstacle. That killed it. It was still good after that, but it didn't last the next trip. So
I forgot about that scenario. Yeah, you might have overheated like a. Oh God.
I don't remember.
I could pull up a map really quick. And
it's there's a big ass boulder, and you go around it to if you're coming down the hill. From the easy side, it's you go around the rock on the left, and there's a drop.
Pinball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going right past that, I got bound up going up, and then my hydro like chafed. One of the lines had been rubbing against the steering shaft, and it popped, dropped all the fluid, and it wasn't gonna fix it right there. So dragged it up.
Full hydro.
I would have been even in an even worse position with
you
full
would've been.
hydro. Although fortunately it was the low pressure side, so all we had to do was cut the line a little shorter, plug it back in, and then take some baling wire and kind of keep it from touching the steering.
Yeah. I was gonna say
So.
I let RJ drive my Jeep down Mabell, and he's like, "Man, the steering wheel turns really easy." I'm just like, "Yeah, it's full hydro."
I think that's his first time ever driving a full hydro rig. I think.
Probably.
I was gonna say I don't think he's ever like. But yeah, he hasn't been down a. Dude, I forget how new of a friend he is with us with wheeling. Like sometimes I forget that he hasn't come to Roush with us. He hasn't been on like long trips with us. So it's kind of crazy to think about. Like that last year was his first time at Badlands. It's fucking wild.
I find it funny, like, because I've never met the kid. There was just this random dude that pops up in my inbox and is like Skelinator or some silly fucking username that I really haven't been paying any attention to. And then like I start seeing the same Jeep showing up in the backyard built chat, and then like all of a sudden he's starting to talk to me, and I'm like, oh hey, hi, cool.
That's what
We're
he did
friends
with
now.
me. Before I had even moved out to Springfield, he was talking to me, and I was like, "Who is this dude?" Like, I didn't make the connection. And then I moved out, and I was like, oh, "You're the one who's been talking to me on Instagram."
Well, that's actually how he met Buckley. I don't know if you knew that. He like just randomly messaged him off. I don't know if my voice just did a weird thing. Sorry, my Discord.
You're good.
Like he just randomly messaged him on Instagram. Was just like, "Hey, dude, been seeing your Jeep around, like blah 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 blah." I just like started having conversation, and now he's been chilling with us super often. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's very motivated with all the off-roading and the Jeep things. He's like the ideal. If Cody was the ideal person, RJ'd be like 3 times that. So
He's a good
oh
dude.
my
as,
Dude's a
as
real
far
good
as
dude.
First off, the dude's bills are like just my truck payment, so I don't even want to hear it. All right, goddamn.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I'm just saying
Jesus.
he's very
Hey,
passionate and very motivated, and
100%.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
He was me when we first met, 1,000%, like without a doubt. But I don't think he's as like he doesn't make plans to go wheeling as often as we were. Like that was also in your prime.
No,
Luke's
well, I mean
prime,
he's
and
younger and
Colin's
he doesn't
prime, so,
have
like,
he doesn't
yeah.
have a group of people to go out with, which is why he's friends with us now, and now he's
Mhm.
going out more. So and
yeah, no, I wasn't talking shit on that. I was just
oh yeah, I
making
know. I'm just
comparison.
saying, like, it's just the reality of it. I mean, I didn't wheel until I stumbled into backyard built, and I wouldn't have done that if Jacob hadn't made me go and pick up his tires for his shitty black Jeep. Like, it just shit falls into place, and
Ain't
I
it
would have been
funny
on
how
30.
that shit works
I
out?
probably would have been on 35s with a 4-inch short arm lift, and I would have been none the wiser to off-roading. I just thought the Jeeps were cool. Had I not
Can
fallen
I
in
throw
and
some shade at Sean?
saw Colin's shitbox and be like, "Whoa, you can like build these in your backyard?" Like it's not like, and it was sort of. I feel like Mark, it was sort of the same thing with you, where you see one and it just sort of like something clicks, and you're like, "Oh, this is attainable." Like
There
these
goes my
idiots have
wallet.
one.
I
But
still
you just
can't
like
get over that
it's-
day. That day was too funny.
But it
Oh,
was. I
definitely.
had the same epiphany when I saw Colin's Jeep. I was like nerding out over the thing and I don't know. Colin was sort of like a godly figure at the time to me. I was like, holy shit, that thing is cool. Look what he's doing with it. He's like, I want to do that, and it just it spirals out of control from there, and here we are.
But it's like generational.
Yeah.
Like RJ and
Yep.
RJ's kind of like the next generation. Like I was kind of after you guys, and RJ's after me.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes just seeing like what one person can do, and just like knowing that they had resources, so you have an in somewhere to talk with them, which then spirals into you meeting more people with the similar thing. It's like the best way to get into it, I feel like, is to meet someone in person who has something that Russ's or Jimmy's, and just talk.
Yeah.
This
Kind
has
of
been
like
quite the episode.
I was gonna say,
So-
Cody has such a good friend base and so many fabricators. You think
Good friends.
You'd think the kid would have like a wide open designs buggy or something by this point.
Oh my! I'm only like a year and a half younger than you, Mister.
You're a kid.
God,
We're all
damn it.
kids.
Anyways,
you are a kid.
back to the whole RJ thing, because I don't want to fucking leave that alone, and making fun of Cody for his baby face ain't gonna get us anywhere. I'm actually excited to meet him and wheel with him, and I'm hoping he can make it out to the Web Wheelers ball. And I'm really
Web
sorry.
Killers? Probably. AOP? I don't know. I don't know if he would be able to try to.
I'm gonna
finagle
be
that.
real with you. I don't want him going to AOP because I don't want to feel bad for not babysitting him. So
Who's to say that my Jeep's gonna be on tons if it goes down there?
I
But I also
didn't
won't be
mean like
babysitting.
that.
No, that's a fair point too. Though, like, I don't need as much assistance going down a black. That's a fair point.
Well, I don't
So,
even
I
mean
mean-
like that. I mean like he's what? He's 19 or something like that. You
But
let that.
He doesn't get phased very easily.
He
he
doesn't
rode
get
with me, he
phased.
didn't
No, not phased. It's fine. It's fine. He would be fine. He would be
Mark,
fine. There would be-
Mark, my boy, you you have an idea as to what hardcore wheeling is. You don't have a clue as to what hardcore night wheeling is yet.
Oh,
I'd be sleeping. It's okay.
you
Hey.
should have came to West Virginia. That dude. Why did I just robot again?
No, you
No.
didn't, robot.
No.
You're,
Dude, my
you're
Discord's
You're
doing
freaking
weird
out
shit.
for no reason.
Well, you know, there's
Seeing
the voice
ghosts.
connected thing. It's literally turning red and going one dot. So I'm nervous that it's like actually like robotic. I'm sorry. I like you should have came down to West Virginia. That could have been like the best last hurrah trip for you, and then just stay local. It was so cool. It was so
It was
much
fun.
fun. It was probably the most fun I've ever been without my rig being there. It was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Now, just imagine, Cody, if you went on all the fun trips, you'd be able to say that every time, because that's what I do.
Yeah. All right. I'll give you my boss's number. Tell him to pay me more, and then like I will be to every single one. I got you. I'll be
Okay.
there.
Give me his number, I'll call him.
wheel what you brung, man. Just throw the freaking thing on the trailer, bring it to
It
wherever.
doesn't
and
matter
go.
about the rig. It matters about the money.
Get one of those little play school Little Tykes cars and just wheel it around in the parking lot and then ride
No, I
with
could
somebody else. There you go.
I just
That
give
counts
him
as a
my
rig.
credit card, and then it'd be fine. But I don't want to use my credit card.
It is
I got-
true. Those
My
big
limit is
trips
too
add up.
high, and I'm scared to start, touching it because I think the instant I start touching my credit card is the minute that I fuck myself financially, and I don't want to do that. So I'm trying.
Yo, I
not to do that.
fucking feel you, dude.
Yeah.
On the limit shit. Fucking that got me into a lot of fucking trouble last year without fucking realizing it, and I'm still
Yeah.
dealing with it now. They bumped my credit limit on a $500 card to fucking have another number in front of it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then like you don't think that much about it, so you're just like, fuck it, I'll swipe it, pay half the balance now, get it paid down, fucking throw some extra on there, and holy shit does that stuff creep up on you.
No, I could spend half of my yearly amount on my credit card, and I do not like. And I hear you because that like I do not want to get ahead of myself. I know that will literally be the end of me. So I hear you 1,000%. And if I just start swiping that son of a bitch, that swiping ain't gonna stop because I'm an idiot. And then to be like, ooh, this feels cool. I can just buy Jeep parts by swipe, and then I'm fucked. So
I will
don't know.
say fuel, because you get the 2%
That's fair,
usually,
yeah.
1%, 3%, whatever it is, depending on your card.
3% for me. Yeah.
You put your fuel on that. And for me, I mean, I have some saved, but I mean, for the Dodge shit, like when that thing was all a million pieces, that was credit card. That's all credit card.
Yeah,
Because
but
I couldn't have
makes
expected that,
sense.
and you pay that down.
Yeah. That
Or
makes
I mean,
sense
the
to
other
me.
thing, I've got a couple other ones. Like I use it if I'm buying stuff for somebody else's rig that I'm working on. I just put that on the credit card. It's all in one place. It's out of my bank account. Like, it's not in the same place. And then that's money assuming they pay me in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not paying interest on that, and it's just free points, I guess, right? If you do it right. So
I like that idea.
there's
That
ways to
makes
be
sense me.
responsible
No,
about
I like
it.
that.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm responsible with it all the time, but most of the time, that's in ideal Grembo land. That's how you use a credit card. So,
Okay, totally agreed. The only thing that I'm just gonna throw back
we're turning
is,
into a
like-
Finance Bro podcast really fast.
Yeah,
No,
we
no,
are.
I think again, like for somebody younger who's in my position, I think this is a really good conversation that has like finances and wheeling is a big part of it. So like, I don't think
Don't use your credit card to buy your 1-ton parts.
Stay fluid.
Well, like I
Yeah.
literally, I'm genuine. Remember when that quote unquote Lamborghini rig was up for sale? That guy from Rhode Island. Like I literally went out and was like, hey, like how much can I get for a personal loan? Granted, the interest rate is fucking stupid on personal loan, so I wasn't gonna do it anyways.
Yep.
But I got approved up to 25,000, which
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, and like Colin literally word for word was the reason I did not do it. I would have already had a fucking crazy ass rig, crazy, a
He
quote
talked you out
unquote
of it?
crazy. Yeah, because he made a lot of like, like he made sense to me in the sense of like, why put yourself into debt on a depreciating asset that you are only going to continue to ruin more and more and more? Like, yeah, you'll add
Yeah.
parts, but
Absolutely.
like, it's not going to like just miraculously grow $10,000 out of it. Like, okay, you want to put yourself in debt for a house that's gonna like obtain value over time, sure, but a boat, absolutely fucking not. Like a truck, yeah, something that you're going to use day in day out, absolutely. And like he literally just resonated enough with me that I was like, do not fucking do this to yourself. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool, $180 a month. I know it'd been more than that. It'd been like 400 something bucks a month, but like, could I have done that? Absolutely. But was it a smart decision for me to? No. Would I be probably having more fun right now? Probably. But I'd be just literally just wasting money that I'm, working every day to make for something that's not going to benefit me financially.
It's about the smiles per dollar, not the
100%.
interest per dollar.
So are you saying, Cody, it's probably worthwhile to build something you might already have and it was
Hell
paid for?
yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Ta-da!
The stray cat, he's coming back. He's coming back.
No, I'm leaving. I'm walking.
hey, the only thing I will tell you is that from my perspective, if you are going to do a rig with your location, I would do everything in the manner that you can easily cut it up and do the cage, because let's be real here, when you want to go and actually build that shit, you're better off just removing sheet metal and going down the Curtis path almost
agree.
from the get-go.
I agree. 100%.
After having had the open air freedom that I now have in that rig, I'm having an internal debate about how I want to modify my door bars now. I originally wanted to put on like competition level high sides, but that rig's never going to be a fucking race car if I'm being honest. And then on top of it never actually ending up as a race car, being able to like just kind of in the harnesses get that like feeling like you get when you stick your head out the window is so fucking nice.
Yeah, until a rock hits you in the face.
I wouldn't know. Mine's like driving a tank. You can't really see out of
Mm.
it. You're just guessing. I love it.
The open air is nice. I'm not gonna lie. Just being
Yeah.
able to see all around, it's
Yeah, until you're in fucking Mikey's YJ and he's trying to go up something stupid, and then you have a log trying to fucking physically
I mean,
attack.
you're
you through
gonna
the
have that
windshield.
same shit with a buggy.
You'll have that
though.
on those bigger jobs.
Yeah, that just comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just
like-
thought that was hilarious. He was just driving through it, and I'm like, Mike. And he's like, what? And this thing was just sliding. Like, if it hadn't have hit the A pillar, it would have speared me in the chest, and I was just ready to accept. I was ready to accept it, that this was my moment, and it was cool because it was in Mikey's YJ. So, like, I was okay with it. It's just like, here we go. You know what? Some people are, at that point, it's no longer my problem. It's their problem, and it's fine.
I can't fault that at all.
But yes, sadly, the stray cat seems to be, I'll eat out of your hand right now, Graham. That's where I'm at. If that puts it in perspective. Sadly,
Okay.
fucking
Well,
piece
you're
of
actually
shit.
sitting at the shop. Bring your sawzall blades.
Because like, how expensive is it really for me to do a fucking truss and gears in the locker? Like, it's not that bad at all. But it's cheaper than buying a whole new fucking rig. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And then when you go to do the cage, take a page out of our friend here, FMjeeper's book, and just cut the B
No.
pillar right out.
I want to do well. If I do an internal, yeah. Like I really don't want to. I might even take a fucking page out of Nick's book. Like, I really
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
I don't want to do a. I don't want to do a hybrid. That's still like.
I'm
even though it makes
talking
sense,
about
we'll see
when
that
you
time
go.
comes. The cat's walking away again.
I will say this: when that time starts to arrive, and you are at the point where you are looking at it, right? You know, the cost to tube is the cost to tube. So, like, if you want to go down the path of dove nosing and
It's
chopping the
not as
body
bad
up,
as it used to be either.
Nowhere
Yeah.
near as bad. Yeah.
just fucking chop it up, and that's what I mean. If that means that the roof comes off and it's just a floor pan with a fucking body side control harness to make the other stuff work, that is what it is, right? Like, who cares? Make it what you want. It's not like it's just sheet metal. And like if you're building a buggy out of it anyway, does it really matter that much?
No, but then what if I fall into the Graham hands of like, oh, I like this thing when it was driving on the street. Like, what if I fall into that and then I'll be sad?
I don't miss mine. I was the same
Yeah.
way. I was like, I want to drive it, drive it around. It
I
goes
still
away.
drive mine around town.
Well, you're
I could drive
crazy.
mine around town. I just got to fill the tires.
I could, but I'd have to change my pants every 20 feet.
Why would you have to do that? You can probably get the PRP diaper edition or something. They make all sorts of shit now. If you cool it down as it comes out, it'll be like an ice block. It's not going to stain your pants.
Gross.
Yeah, no, you might end up having that regret, Cody, but I also can't remember a point in time where you were super happy about driving it on the street. Every time that we were working on it and you were talking about it, you were talking about how amped you were to go and run the next black trail with us and how you were like the, dog following along. So, like, that's my little introspective on it. And if you're gonna do all of the work, a set of used reds is a cheap set of 40s comparatively to buying a nice new set of DOTs. Run them on some fucking hand-me-down beadlocks. Don't be like me and be stubborn. And chop the body up. It's just a fucking Cherokee. It doesn't matter. None of this is real, and there are no actual rules.
And it doesn't owe you anything, man.
Yeah, dude. Like,
It's
you've
not like
had
you're
that
paying on
thing.
it, right?
I definitely don't have a payment on that thing.
Then it owes you nothing.
I always
Really?
I bought it for $500 So let's be honest. Like,
Are you wait a minute? Hold on a second. We went through all this for a $500 Cherokee?
Yeah, with 100,000 miles, and it had no rot the day I bought it.
Um,
No rust, no rot, no rust, no dents, no nothing. Interior was perfect.
Now it's
I have done
garbage.
every piece of shit thing to that. Like the reason it's where it's at right now is because of me. So it's kind of cool.
So what are we talking about? Dude, slap the axles under it and let's just go. We're done.
dude,
There we go.
can we like
Case
get
closed.
Mark to fill
Cody's
in
wheeling.
more? This has been great. It's like having another person on as a host, but at the same time, it's like a guest too. It's fucking nice.
We'll ask next week's guest on what they think I should do. I think their opinion may differ.
Oh boy,
This has been
I'm
a wacky
excited for
episode.
this.
I wasn't sure where this one was gonna go. I mean, I figured
went
we'd talk about
everywhere.
Mark stuff and all the other stuff. I didn't expect it to go into like the philosophies behind like building cheap rigs versus buying expensive rigs and sawzall blades of all things and
Oh, dude, I forgot
credit
about the
card
Sawzall
payments
blade.
and
Wow, the Sawzall conversation. Oh Lord.
Also,
that was a while
Mark,
ago.
just keep in mind it was a $300 shit box that was leading the charge up my bell that day.
Yeah.
That was
was
the
fun.
worst fucking thing that could have showed up.
I can tell you real quick about my last Mabell trip.
Oh,
I was
fill
proud of
me
it.
in.
I caught it on fire and I one-shotted everything except for the easiest obstacle on there.
Please tell me that the steps fucked you up.
The steps fucked me up.
How the fuck is a rig on 42 traps getting fucked up by the steps?
Well, it is
Wait,
40.
you're on
40.
42-inch. You're on 40-inch sticky traps.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
How
So-
the fuck
so-
did you
so-
manage that?
Well, let me tell you how the day started. So RJ was riding with me. We go up to Gatekeeper. I can't remember. I think I was the only one who went up to gatekeeper that day. And I started going up, and all of a sudden, like, we weren't going anywhere. I was halfway up it. And I'm like, why aren't we going anywhere? And so turns out, like, we were in 2-wheel drive. It popped out of 4 low into 2-wheel drive somehow. And
Weird.
it was the weirdest thing. Like, it wasn't fully engaged. The rear wheels were spinning, but the front wasn't. That's what happened.
That's
And
goofy.
And like I'm not going back down. I'm mad at it. We ended up making up after a nice little smoke show. We made it up in basically 2-wheel drive. That kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. And then we popped up, went up all through the other stuff, got past the pond, went up the little rock garden, whatever. That was pretty easy. And got to loading dock, and Ryan was up there with us. He was like, "Hey, hold on, I'll film you. Let me just park real quick." And he went on the bypass there right by me, and he just kept going. I'm like, I thought he was going to stop. I'm like, all right, RJ, you ready to go? He's like, yeah, let's go. And I just one-shotted it. And like Ryan's just, before he couldn't even get out of his rig in time, and we were already up there. He's like, dude, I thought you were going to film. I was going to film you. I was like, sorry, I thought you were driving away. So I just popped right up. And then we drove about 5 more feet after the loading dock. And then all of a sudden, like, you see smoke coming out from under my hood. I'm like, oh shit. RJ's like, fire. I'm like, and then like Ryan's like, fire. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Grab my fire extinguisher. I look under the hood, like through my nice new cutout where the coilovers are.
What color was the smoke?
What?
What color was the smoke?
It was like black, I think.
Oh yeah, that's fire. Usually, that's what I would probably. Okay, if it was white, then I wouldn't have said fire. If it was black, then I would probably have quick said fire too. To be fair.
Well, Ryan was like on the side of me at one point, and he could see clean into my engine bay because my inner fender wells are kind of gone now, and you could see the flames. And like,
oh shit,
my dumbass, when I was mocking up the coilovers, I was using cardboard to do some brackets. Well, somehow, some way, some cardboard fell on top of my header, and like it, like right between all the tubes inside, like perfectly. You couldn't reach this thing. Caught on fire and just went up. So it's like right after loading dock, I'm in. I basically emptied my fire extinguisher, and I'm like, oh great, hopefully this thing doesn't catch back like on fire again. When I tried, fishing the cardboard out, I just couldn't reach it because the header was too hot, and it was just in a very odd spot.
Oh,
Jeez.
okay. So we've got a silly
that's better
little.
than other fire, right? At least that's just a flammable thing. That's
right. I thought something way worse was happening.
yeah,
like,
power
shit.
steering.
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah.
nasty.
I'm like, is this thing going up? Am I going to be, am I going to be calling the fire department to come put this damn thing out?
Yeah,
Dude, that fucking shit scares me. I bought some of those 17 or 13 quick pull mounts, and I'm looking at where I want to mount them now. I'm thinking I might just run one of them on the fucking double A pillar at the driver's like foot. So if something goes up, it's like right fucking there.
I have mine on my harness bar between the seats. So I either or like myself or whoever's in the passenger seat could reach it, and it goes pretty quick. And it is a quick pull.
My only issue that I have with that is with the way my rig's set up. I'm sorry, Cody. I just realized that like me coming on here probably dragged this to like 2.5 hours.
yes.
The only reason that I don't want to put it there is the seats in my rig. If you are trying to get all the way back, you have to be unharnessed already. I want to be able to grab it in the harnesses.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
mine's under my driver's seat. It doesn't have a mount, but it just kind of flops around in there. It's not. Actually, it had to move, but usually it lives there. You open the door, you can get to it, and
Yeah,
I've also got that other one on the driver's side. On that D or C pillar like extension, like you can grab it from that non-existent window. It was kind of stupid when there was a window there, but it's easy to access now that there is no window there. So
I was thinking of moving mine or doing an additional one back there too, just
Yeah.
so like anybody can walk by and grab it if they
Grab
need
it.
it.
Yep. But I mean, I've got like fire extinguishers all over the place. I've got one in the
Yeah.
they're just all. I just have got like 3 or 4 at this point.
I have 2 of those mounts. One of those mounts is going by the driver's foot, or it's going in the center console area where it can be reached by both people. And the other one is going on my tube butt somewhere because I have so much tube there that it doesn't make sense to not have, or like it doesn't
You
make
should have an
sense to.
extinguisher there.
Yeah, it
Right
should
by the
just
fuel
be right
tank.
there.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
Yep.
Like opposite side of the fill on one of the support bars, so that way if the tank is going up, it's not like directly in the line of fire, but it's also right there.
Probably a good idea.
So I guess on that note, I should probably shut up and let this episode die.
I think we covered quite a bit this episode. It's been a solid. When we start 6:35, we're at
Yeah.
8:58. Yeah, about 2.5 hours, I'd say.
God, with no plan.
No plan. Those are the best ones.
I was gonna say you popped on and we started recording basically like a minute later.
Yeah, we didn't really do. We talked a little bit, not like anything podcast worthy, really, and just jumped right in. Usually, there's more diddling around there at the beginning. We're not doing anything, and we lose good conversation. We jumped right in.
Well,
Luke's dying.
yeah, Luke is dying. I've had a minor chest cold that's been aggravated by allergies. But I guess in closing in all of this, the people that you meet are going to have something to remember you by. So make sure that when you are building your legacy, that you leave something behind for the next generation to pick up. Bring that dude in that like has 31s and a budget boost. Start showing him what you actually have to start doing, and never be afraid to talk to anyone that you meet about anything.